quickly and you may be sweating more than you anticipate. So staying well hydrated really is the best way to keep yourself without kidney stones.
For more information, please visit wakemed.org.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers the most important high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsor, First Carolina Bank. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right, you can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Do your summer plans include travel? Make sure your prep includes more than just flights and hotels. Stay up to date with COVID-19 vaccination, especially if you're 65 or older or have certain health conditions. There have been surges in COVID-19 in the summer, too. It's important to help protect yourself no matter your destination. So check eligibility and schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
Get in the hole!
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Two things you need to know about this afternoon. Extreme heat warning, feeling like 110 or hotter, and a risk for severe storms. It's a level 2 risk that we could have some storms producing wind damage. A high of 100. 74 tonight. Storms diminish, but we have a level 1 risk for tomorrow. It's cooler, though. We'll see a high of 96.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 159 points to 42,929.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hash, his QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits! Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan on a Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. I'm Tim Donnelly. Max producing the show again. Still riding with us. Hasn't gone crazy and run away yet. You know what? Yesterday I did this whole thing, like before the big three, let's go ahead and keep you updated on what's going on in the NHL or what's not going on in NHL trade and free agency season. Well, let's wait because that might be in the big three. Let's start it. Big three. Big three at 3. Number 1, the NHL latest news. Not much. It's still the calm before the storm. Evander Kane traded. Here's the moves that are being made. I feel like it's building up the antsiness of Carolina Hurricanes fans. Why haven't they made a move yet? Why haven't they? Other teams are making moves. Other teams aren't. Those aren't the moves that you compare the Canes to. right? Those other moves, like in Evander Kane trade, even the Zegras trade, even the Mason Marchment trade, right? It feels like all these other teams are doing stuff. They're the moves before the moves. They're the gathering of ammunition, right? That's the gathering of supplies for the battle that is to come, right? The real active, big, splashy, oh my goodness moves are all still on the horizon.
The Evander Kane trade, it was funny. One, because he basically broke his own trade on Twitter with like a farewell letter to the Oilers and like saying he's excited.
I respect that.
And then people plugged his farewell letter into like an AI detector, and basically it was written by ChatGPT as well. So it was a very funny situation all around, breaking your own trade with an AI letter to the fans.
I don't know why that gets such a bad rap. I've seen that a few times where they've written the thank you letter, and people immediately put it into whatever, like the catch AI sites that teachers use.
Even if the agent writes it, like at least there's some like meaning to like, oh, thank you the fans. Like it kind of, to me, that kind of seems like a slap in the face. Like, oh, you couldn't even like write your own thank you to the fans.
He's not a writer. He's not a writer. He's like, for me, somebody, probably the agent, but somebody took the time to go to AI and say, can you write up a heartfelt thank you? And they did, and they read it and said that appropriately conveys like, it's no different than leaving with like, I'll leave you with a poem by Robert Frost or
Fair
something
enough.
like that. I like, it's a hockey player.
The funniest part of it to me is that he just like broke his own trade.
I respect that. I like it.
Cut out the middleman. Like, hey,
let's not get these insiders
I'm getting
involved.
traded. I'm leaving. Like, see y'all later.
I don't hate that move. But my point is, moves like that, it was cap movement. Was he traded for a fourth? Zegras, same thing. Marchment, same thing. It's not about the players. Teams, obviously, you're trying to take advantage of other teams in cap problems to find a little bit of value. But if something happened that made us feel like the Canes missed out, I would let you know, and it hasn't happened yet. It may, but it hasn't happened yet. So you can calm down with all of the, why haven't they done? It's going to be another offseason where we think they should, but they don't. And it's like, maybe, but we darn sure don't know that on June 25th.
Just a note while we're on NHL latest, this was a tweet from Andy Strickland about an hour ago, who's well plugged in hockey circles. He's the Blues ringside reporter on FanDuel Sports Network.
Cam and Strick podcast.
Yes. Evan Bousard currently monitoring upcoming negotiations with Connor McDavid. That being said, don't expect him to come off his $10 million per season number. McDavid making a lot of players very rich in Edmonton. So just an update on one of the big kind of right-handed defenseman targets. I haven't seen him necessarily linked with the Hurricanes, but they're looking for a top pairing right-handed D-man, so that was an option out there. But he's looking for $10 million a season, so just something to keep in mind.
If Bousard were to move, that would be a move. That would be one that you could feel a little FOMO, a little fear of missing out if a team you are competing with brings in Bousard. I refuse to allow you to feel FOMO because you missed out on Trevor Zegras. But Bousard would be a different category. That's number one in the big three. At 3. Number 2, I made a mistake yesterday in talking about Rod Brind'Amour not making the Hall of Fame. Yesterday, Rod Brind'Amour was not included in the 6-person 2025 induction class into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And I immediately went to the narrative argument because I had felt, and I said it on air, I said, we could have the statistical arguments, but we've done it, right? Because this isn't the first time Rod Brind'Amour hasn't made the Hockey Hall of Fame, right? He's been on the ballot for quite some time, and he's deserved to be in for quite some time. And that was a mistake by me. I guess it is something that we're going to have to do every year because there are still those out there that go, and the better he becomes as a coach. I saw this argument a few times. He wasn't a Hall of Fame player. He might be it as a builder if he's a better, if he gets, over the hump as a coach. No. As a player, Rod Brind'Amour, Hall of Famer. Should be. Okay? Obviously he's not, but he is, if that makes any sense. And I would bring some numbers for you just to illustrate it. Right now, even with players, and a bunch of them that have passed him since he retired, he is 55th all-time in points. Total points, 55th all-time. Only 9 people above him are not already in the Hall of Fame. 6 of them currently playing, not allowed in. Okay? The 14 below him on the all-time points list are either in the Hall of Fame or still playing. All of them. So of the top 70 players on the all-time points list, 67 are in the Hall of Fame or still playing and will be likely if the stats I'm telling you are true. So 67 are in the Hall of Fame or still playing and will be. That leaves 3. Rod Brind'Amour is one of the 3. One of the 3 who are not in the Hall of Fame won 2 Selke trophies, which tells you he was the best defensive forward in the league, so point producing wasn't even what he did best. He's up there in total points with the guys who made their entire career off of doing that, hunting that, and he was getting it done on the defensive end and then stumbled into top 50 when he retired in all-time points. Top 55 still. And he captained a cup champion. Right, so if you count, rings and impact on championships, bada boom.
And worth noting, one of those players that is ahead of him, Bernie Nichols, he got 150 points in a season because he got to play with Wayne Gretzky. Rod Brind'Amour never had a Wayne Gretzky on his line.
That does help. I've heard he made it quite easy. It's. Did they have terms like he's a Gretzky merchant? Did they have that back in the day?
I don't know if they weren't invalidating people like we do these days.
Yeah. Miko was a McDavid merchant, right? My point is this: the statistical arguments are there. In addition to the flowery language, the reason why I led with narrative yesterday is because I think that is what erodes with time. Stats are what stats are. I didn't think I had to tell you that he was a really productive player. I do think we have to work to keep the more contextual elements of his career alive as we continue to make Hall of Fame arguments. That's number 2 on the Big 3 at 3. Number 3, the NBA draft tonight. The NBA draft coming up tonight. We will break down where the guys with local ties could go, who the Hornets might take. Should they take? What's Ace Bailey doing? Not working out for anybody. It's all right there. But I thought we'd start with this. Cooper Flag's going to go number 1. Spotrac, I've referenced them all the time. They're one of a handful of sites that illustrate exceptionally well and track exceptionally well the impact of contracts and negotiations and max contract values and cap hits for most professional sports. They put together this little thought experiment. Basically, just what if Cooper Flag is a superstar? What if, and by the way, superstar doesn't have to be an MVP. What if every 4 years he has at least 2 All-NBAs? And we're talking All-NBA third team. So at least every other year, roughly, he's one of the 15 best players in the league. Whatever he ends up being, with 8 best at his position, right? If every other year he's one of those, this is how his career could go if he so chooses. Drafted by the Mavericks, rookie contract, first 4 years, through 2028, pays him $62.7 million because of the 2 All-NBAs we talked about, or an MVP, or there's other ways to get there. But because he reached Supermax extension eligibility, he is eligible for a 30% Supermax extension for the next contract, which will end in 2033. The estimates on that, $359 million. But again, we said every 4 years he's getting at least third-team All-NBA twice. So on that contract, he gets at least 2 third-team All-NBAs. That makes him eligible for a 35% Supermax extension that would end in 2038. That contract would be worth $509 million. On estimates by Spotrac, not me. I'm not making these numbers up. They're calculating them. Quick math. Through his first 3 contracts, he will have made, if this happens, $930 million. And here's the real kicker, because 2038 does feel really long into the future, right? If it's like 2038, we'll be in flying cars. He'll be 31 years old. 31.
And then he'll sign another contract worth $700 million.
There is a again, he has to live up to his end of the bargain, right? He has to be at least a top 15 player every other year through most parts of his career. But if he does that, if he lives up to that end of the hype, it is likely that by the time he is 35 years old, he will have made well over $1 billion in basketball earnings alone. We're not talking endorsements. We're not talking the New Balance money or what Gatorade will be giving him or McDonald's or Google or whoever else has, the documentary that's been, by 2040 is going to be in season 6 on Netflix of like watching the flag. Like that we are not talking about any of that. We're just talking basketball earnings. If the Supermax extension and everything stays structured the same way, by the time he's 35, if he lives up to his end of the bargain of being a star, he will be well over $1 billion in basketball earnings. And because it's a huge deal in hockey and everybody wants to talk about it, because the only way to get the most eligible, especially in your early contracts, is to stay with the team that drafted you, he will be getting most of that in a state income tax free state in Texas, which, I mean, on a no offense to hockey, on a hockey contract, it's a lot of money. On a $1.5 billion, I mean, he would be saving yearly what some of the highest paid players make in hockey. Hopefully they make more by then. But that is bananas, and it all starts tonight when he hears his name called and he walks across the stage to go grab his Dallas Mavericks hat. And then all that money, he made so much in NIL. People will forget the millions he made in his year at Duke if he walks away with $930 million by the time he's 31 years old. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's the big three at 3. A little bit of fun calculator money math for you. We have something more difficult to talk about next. I declared this offseason the summer of getting a center for the Carolina Hurricanes. But I maybe left out this part. I didn't say it was going to be easy. Stick around.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21. Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Welcome, if you haven't been formally welcomed yet, to the summer of getting a center. I deemed this for the Carolina Hurricanes a couple of weeks ago now. The summer of getting a center. There's been too many years consecutively where you feel like you've had it all or you're all but. Maybe a goalie and a center. Second-line center. Need a second-line center. Nate just wants to be the second-line center. Kokaniemi was supposed to be the second-line center. Where's the second-line center? Second-line center, second-line center. Oh, how I lament that Trocheck was supposed to be the second line center. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. Maybe not with the word lament. That's my own twist there. Usually it's words I can't say on radio when fans tell me about the second line center on the Canes. When it's a rotation between Roslovic, Jankowski, and Kokiniemi in the postseason, yeah, flowery language, the kind you can't say on radio. So I declared it with your cap space, with your trade capital, your draft picks, your prospects, with most of your core locked up to very team-friendly deals. I said, there's no excuse this offseason. It's the summer of getting a center. Maybe I failed to add on is that it's going to be really hard to get a center. Should have prepared you for that, right? I brought you on a hike. Like, let's go hiking this weekend. I didn't tell you how long the loop was, right? I just hey, let's go. Get you 6 miles away before I tell you, oh, yeah, and it's uphill on the way back. It's going to be a hard thing to do. The way I've been describing it is you are either going to be happy with the player, and I'm talking about from the fans' perspective. You're either going to be happy with the player they bring in at center and not happy with the price they paid for the player, or you'll be happy for the price they paid and not happy with the player. That's the way you look at it, right? There's no super stud, right-handed, 6'4", 220, physical, goal-scoring, playoff-proven center out there that is going to join your team for $6.5 million on a 7-year contract, who's in their 20s. It doesn't exist. And then you enter into like the market equilibriums, and I wade into the deep waters on this way too often. I took a couple economics classes in college, but you get into supply and demand. And this particular offseason, there's not a ton of centers. Not like there are many offseasons where they're growing on trees, but there's not a ton. So you have to pick your poison. Okay, there's a world where you bring in your second line center, and you go, oh great, that didn't cost that much. We can still go get a stud, maybe former all-star on the wing, and a super established, super trustworthy right-handed defenseman to skate with Slavin. And I'll go, yeah, but that second line center is kind of underwhelming, right? Or you can come back and go, look at this. I'm never going to complain about second line center again. We got everything we're looking for. And then I'm going to go, yeah, you might have to pinch pennies a little bit on your right-hand defenseman. Or something like, yeah, well, now you don't have the trade capital if you want to make a similar big move in the future. Right, next offseason, if again, there's not a strong free agency goalie class and you want to go make that trade, you might not have the pieces because you gave them all up for this center. There's no perfect situation out there. So I brought up a handful of potential options right here, starting with the one that's being talked about the most right now. There are, I've been telling you all offseason, 48-hour segments where different players become the hot thing to talk about. Right now, we are nearing hour 38 of Tomas Hertl, where for 24 hours it was, oh, it needs to happen. It's happening. I'm hearing smoke. It could happen. Here's what the need to. Here's why. Here's the. Then it calms down a little bit. People are still talking about it, but we're still in his mix, okay? He'll be 32 in November, coming from Vegas if the trade happens. 5 years remaining with $6.75 million on a cap hit because San Jose is eating some of that. But you'd take him up to like, I don't know, age 36, 37, something like that. 6'3", 220. Slow, if we're being real. I always use my high school football coach's insult. If we had a guy, usually maybe a fullback, break into the open field, he would just go, we don't judge your speed with a stopwatch. We judge it with a calendar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as he was like, trying to pull away in the open field. Hertl, maybe it's not days on the calendar, but it's like hours. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. as he breaks into the opening. What about somebody like Minnesota's Marco Rossi, 24, restricted free agent, contract impasse with the Wild, 24 goals. Reportedly asking, according to The Athletic, for a deal similar to his teammate Matt Boldy, which would be about 7 years, just under $50 million. But he's 5'9", 182. What about somebody like John Tavares? 38-goal, 74-point season.
And apparently the contract negotiations with him and Toronto are not going great.
And he's 34, which is a little older than you might like. And if you look at his skill set, the Brind'Amour aggressive forechecking, not what he's exactly known for. But, 16 years in the league, there's some provenness there. What about Vancouver's Elias Pettersson? Right? First of all, he and the Canes, they've been flirting with each other, batting eyes from across the bar for quite some time. He is 6'2", but he is 176, so he's built like a string bean. 26 years old, though. 26. Superstar potential. 100-point season on his resume. 100 points. Something that hasn't happened not only in recent history, hasn't happened much in Canes history since they moved from Hartford. You're looking at Jordan Stahl's brother.
Yeah.
There you go.
Eric Stahl in 2006 was the last 100-point season.
There you go. But that's going to be a blockbuster, right? And he has a contract that's $11.6 million annually. So, yeah, right? And you'd have to pay a lot in the trade, right? Again, The Athletic notes that they will likely be looking for something similar to what the Sabres received for Jack Eichel. Which that's two players, at least one young and exciting, and a first-round pick.
But those two players, to me anyway, those two players are not comparable.
They are not at all, but the market is different.
That's true.
There's not a lot of other options, right? So the question is, do you go overpay for somebody like Pettersson, but you're excited about Pettersson? Or do you reasonably acquire Tomas Hertl, and you're not really excited about adding us Jordan Stahl and Hertl as your second and third line centers. Not exactly the Showtime Lakers out there getting up and down.
Speak for yourself. When I saw word of this going on yesterday, I was pretty excited because, for one, with the retained salary by San Jose, you're only paying him
$675.
Yeah, $675. And granted, for it's a few more years, but he's given solid second line contribution pretty much every year of his career. I mean, he started as a 20-year-old. He had 25 points in 37 games, and ever since then, I mean, he's been a solid. I think he's got 3 or 4 30-goal seasons, which, by the way, is more than Mitch Marner has. And that's just he's a solid veteran, can score the puck.
He had
got the experience.
6 more years to get him.
5 more years, I think.
32 versus 20, what is it, Marner, 27?
Yeah, or
okay,
28, I believe.
Yeah. So 4 more years.
But I like that. I mean, the value is there. Good player, 32 goals last season.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. It's if you go that route, you're getting solid, which is what you said, right? Solid second line center. You're not getting exciting, right? You're not going. No offense, you're not selling Hertl jerseys, right? You're not. That's not what your exciting offseason with all the cap space and everything would lead to at a position that's been annoying for a long time. And by the way, like the Hertl, Pettersson, I don't want to turn this into two guys, right? Like those people. I'm almost using them as like examples of their category, right? Where you can go find the 32, the 33, the 34-year-old, the guy who is big but he's slow, and you can get him for a little bit cheaper, right? Where, hey, he's got some 30-goal seasons, but he doesn't have the 100-point season, right? He's got some 30-goal seasons, doesn't have the 45-goal season, or some 30-goal season, doesn't have the 45-goal season. Or you could spend more, granted, sometimes a lot more, but then you do get the excitement, right? Then you do get the possibilities of something greater. Then you do get the possibilities of what the heck do you do with the Canes when they're throwing Aho at you on the first line, flanked by Mitch Marner and Seth Jarvis, or whoever you want, like whatever you spend the rest of your money on. And then you come in the second line and you have the category of Elias Pettersson and Svech and whoever else you want to throw up there. There's a very, very interesting dichotomy there. Neither is easy. Neither is exactly what you drew up. Right? For those of you yelling about it, yes, like the Pettersson, the level would, I think Tage Thompson would be in that level, and there's a few others that would be in that level. But then, with his contract being a bit more gettable as far as cap hit, you're probably going to have to give up even more in a trade.
Oh, yeah. You have to give up a ransom to get Tage Thompson off the Sabres.
Which you're going to go love the player, hate the price, which that's the category he falls into.
One of the benefits of Pettersson, too, is they've been interested in Kotkaniemi in previous trade talks as well, so you'd be able to move that cap hit out as well. However many years left that is, I believe it's 4 or 5. So really you're only net adding like $7 or $8 million for every year that KK's contract would be here. Instead, you'd have Pettersson, who is a more productive player, if we're being honest. So
if they take Pettersson, yes, I'm there. If they take Kotkaniemi, yes, I'm there. That's a different conversation. My point is this, and I disagree with some smart people on this. I'll pay the price. I'll pay more for the second line center of my dreams, and it's for a few reasons. One, it's because they have it, right? This isn't an off season where it's not a possibility. You have the capital. Two, I don't want to fall into the trap of, I was just recently, and shout out to Bailey's Fine Jewelry and the Fox and Bailey Watch Shop. I have a relationship with them. But I was just recently, not because of his music, but you can, not to disrespect his music, great guitarist, shout out to Grateful Dead. I was listening to a watch podcast with John Mayer, and one of his regrets was there was a watch that was stupid expensive. Right, and by the way, he's moving in watch circles that most of us will never move in. You're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars. There was a watch that was stupid expensive, but it was one that he was drawn to. He loved it, the look, the everything, and he went, "Oh, that's so much money. I can't do it. That doesn't make any sense." And then he's like, over the next month, I bought 4 watches that were a quarter as expensive, and I didn't like any of them nearly as much as I would have liked the big piece, and I think that is how the Canes should think, in that if you like the crown jewel, buy the crown jewel. Only the difference is John Mayer was kind of operating, I guess, with a budget, right? And he didn't want to blow his whole budget on one watch, so he spent it on 4. The Canes, their budget spend is obviously capped, but the value you get out of those other spots is not. And part of what the genius of Rod Brind'Amour and his system is he takes fourth liners and they play like third liners, right? He takes healthy extras and he turns them into legit, I want him on the ice every day fourth liners. Mark Jankowski, I don't believe they traded for him over the 5th round pick at the deadline with the idea of him being an everyday player. It was size and it was organizational depth if they needed it. And then by the end of the season, it was like, you can't take Janky off the ice. The guy's playing great. So spend the money on the guys that you have things you can't teach, right? The things that are the skill that's given by whoever made you. And then trust Rod Brind'Amour to bring up everything else rather than going, ooh, I don't know, I want to spend a little bit here, a little bit there to make sure we have talents. I'm going like, nah, he'll figure that out. He'll find talent there. And Tulsky will help, obviously, with roster management. But, the Eric Robinson of it all. If he can turn Eric Robinson into a player you're comfortable every single time out there with, you only need to save $1.7 million to pay Eric Robinson over the next 4 years.
Right.
So go get Pettersson or Tage Thompson or whoever that is where I'm leaning.
I'll say, I wouldn't be surprised necessarily if they don't spend to the cap just because they have all that space, but also maintaining that flexibility, one, for the deadline, and 2, for the free agency class next year, which is, for now, it's loaded. I don't know how many of those guys will re-sign before then, but I think they're going to add a lot of big pieces, but
I agree.
Don't color me surprised if they don't spend super close to the cap. If they leave maybe anywhere from $5 to $10 million, I wouldn't be shocked.
Couldn't agree more. And then that gives you space to bring on a rental if you want to for the rest of the year. And then obviously with that rental coming off the books or you choosing to re-sign, that money obviously will be there for the big free agency class as well. But here's the thing. They could have $8 million not used and still spend $19 over the next month or two. That's how much they can shop top shelf. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. When we come back here, we're going to the Dean's List. But first, Tim Donnelly for Miller Lending. You just heard a whole bunch of financial planning, which is fun to do from where we sit because when it comes to professional hockey, it's somebody else's money. When it comes to your money, I need numbers, I need exacts. Gordon Miller and Miller Lending are perfect for that because, like, here's a number that is exact for you. I don't know your situation. I don't know your credit score. I don't know how big your house is. I don't know how much you're putting down, but I can tell you how many closing costs and fees you would pay on a no-cost loan at Miller Lending. 0. I know that, right? There's so many other things that go into how everything else is structured, but I know Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, when putting together a no-cost loan, do not charge closing costs. No third-party fees, no charges rolled over and named something else. 0 means 0 at Miller Lending. And you may go, wait a second. I got a mortgage not that long ago, and they made me pay a whole bunch of costs and fees. That's because you didn't go to Miller Lending. Miller Lending, no costs, no fees. So if you're going to refi, right, if you bought when the market was at its peak, and it's come down a little bit, you want to refi, get that monthly payment lowered, call Miller Lending right now, no cash out of your pocket. 919-860-5326 is our number. Now I'm going to read you their number. That was a weird little autopilot my brain just did. Miller Lending's number is 919-447-3377. It's a Wednesday. 919-447-3377 for Miller Lending. I'll say it one more time just to eliminate confusion. This is live radio. Bet you thought these were recorded. Now you don't. 919-447-3377 or visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Now here's the part where I speak fast. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146. Nailed it. Back with the Dean's List. Just a minute or two.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Let's rent e-bikes and have a picnic.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
We need to fix the gutters. Let's make 6 trips to the hardware store and still end up with leaky spots.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at PreserveServices.com.
This summer, the world's game comes to Charlotte. Bank of America Stadium will host epic round of 16 matchups on Saturday, June 28th and Monday, June 30th. Teams will be revealed soon, but one thing's clear, you won't want to miss this. Be there when it happens. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets. Bank of America Stadium. The world is watching.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ALL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 321-321. That's ALL to 321-321.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline 877-718-5543.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number 4th of July sale. Save over $600 on our King P5 smart bed, our lowest price of the season. Plus, get free home delivery with most smart beds, limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Hey, everybody out there, soccer fans especially. Football, I guess, depending on where you fall on that whole deal. I call it soccer. Text keyword ball, B-A-L-L, to 919-860-5326 to enter for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to see Benfica take on Chelsea in the FIFA Club World Cup this Saturday, June 28th, at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. I mean, Chelsea, we're talking pretty high-level stuff there.
I've seen Chelsea play a game there against Charlotte FC a couple years ago.
Well, there you go. They're back.
Charlotte FC won in penalties.
Back in the hey,
so it's soccer now.
Take that. Maybe that's why they're back for revengeance, trying to put on a show this Saturday. So just in a couple of days here, handful of days. June 28th, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. If you want to see Benfica take on Chelsea, text the keyword. You don't say anything else, just the keyword ball, B-A-L-L, to 919-860-5326. There you go. Good luck to all of you. Now let's fire up the Dean's List. This is where we highlight those with some connection to the sports world, the college sports world, that deserve a little extra celebration, a little extra praise. I'll get us started. Chase Burns, former Wake Forest pitcher. Goodness gracious. You want to talk about amped up? He made his Major League Baseball debut.
Yeah, he did.
Did you see the velocities?
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Passan put out a tweet. I'm just going to read the tweet because I don't think I can, the facts are better than any kind of entertaining spin I can put on it. Chase Burns' fastball velocity in his first inning as a big leaguer, 98 miles an hour, 100, 99, 100, 100, 100, 99, 99, 99. That was fastballs. Chase Burns' slider velocity in that same inning, 93, 90, 91, 92, 91. He struck out the side, including Trent Grisham, Ben Rice, and Aaron Judge to wrap it up. All strike three swinging. That is electric. I mean, the whoops or the I guess Apple Watches, all the smart wearables that can tell you your heart rate and everything. I want to see what his heart rate was walking off that mound. It had to be a million beats a minute, just jacked up, every pitch popping off his hands, and he strikes out Aaron Judge swinging to get out of the first. That is an unbelievable performance. They went on to win the game in extras. He didn't get the win, but his team got the win, so shout out to Chase Burns, former Wake Forest pitcher. Also, whatever it is, Muscara, the Wake Forest pitching coach that is now the head coach at Duke. I mean, that might be some stuff. No offense. Might be some stuff that I don't know if you had to teach that, right? You got that guy with that stuff. Pitching coach looks mighty good with the guy that throws 100 fastball and 92, 93 mile an hour sliders. It's like, yep. I really worked with him on being a genetic freak and throwing it harder than everybody else. Taught him how to do that. Obviously, I'm kidding a little bit, but still. If he becomes the longtime head coach at Duke and makes millions of dollars, not that Chase Burns will need it. Might want to toss him a couple shekels. Do you have a Dean's List or you want to throw on here, Max?
I do. We'll talk a little bit about ACC legend Maxime Reynaud. Heading into the NBA draft tonight. He is a prospect that I'm particularly high on just because I think the combination of his size as a 7-footer and his skills in shooting would be a good pickup for anyone. Hornets could use a center. But I believe if I have this correct, he walked on at the beginning of his career at Stanford, and then last year as a senior was averaging a 20-point double-double. So Maxime Reynaud, Dean's List, just as a prospect I'm pretty high on tonight in the NBA draft.
I don't know if we have the time to do his full breakdown. He is fast. Him and Cedric Coward are the two most interesting guys in the draft. Maxime Reynaud played with Victor Wembanyama and juniors and somehow slipped through the cracks. Victor Wembanyama's been watched since he was like 13 years old by a billion evaluators. I guess they were all just looking at just Wembanyama and not the other 7-footer when they were 16 years old. Because Maxime fell through the cracks, goes to Stanford like academics. He's apparently an unbelievable chess player and was expecting to get into the chess side of Stanford, the bio something engineering side. I'm not smart enough to even know the word. And hoping to walk onto the basketball team. Walked onto the basketball team, became a 20-10 beast. Wildly impressive to see in person. I'm with it.
You mentioned the two, him and Coward, two of like my first round like sleepers, like two guys I would love to see the Hornets pick up. Then they'll probably end up with neither, but whatever team drafts those two guys, they're getting guys who've risen up the draft board and have a lot of potential. So I'm intrigued to see where they go today.
I used to have this saying, and it's still true. But if a high school running back came to me and said, like, I want to make the pros, how do I do it? I'd tell them to learn to backpedal. Or put their hand in the ground, like you play defense. Because running back when you're young is always the best athlete on the team because you get the ball a ton right before guys can throw, and then usually you just stay there if you're the best athlete. And I always go like, all right, learn to backpedal or learn to put your hand in the ground. Still be a running back on offense, but you're gonna make your money on the defensive side if you're the best athlete around. Coward and Reno are two perfect examples of this. Learn to shoot the three. I'm 7 foot. How do I make the NBA? Learn to shoot the three. I'm 6'6". How do I make the NBA? Learn to shoot the three. I'm 6'4". All right, you're going to have to dribble, but then also learn to shoot the three. Like they're two guys that are going to go in the first round, not because they're the highest jumpers, the best athletes. It's because they can shoot the three. And then they bring up other things to the table as well. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List. Sound the bell. There it is. And we'll take a break. When we come back, more college sports talk. Don't go anywhere.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time.
Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This segment here, it's gonna make me sound like a real cynic. Okay, I'm just getting that out there. I'm gonna frame it as I'm being a realist, but you could easily spin it as I'm just gonna be, Debbie Downer from shout out to SNL. There is a growing consensus that loyalty is gone in college sports. There is a growing consensus that loyalty is gone, and every single time, we're kind of right in one of the best examples of it. Every time a player or a coach jumps from state to UNC and the transfer portal, or takes a new job, or from Duke to state, or from Duke to UNC, or whatever directions you want to go. I forget which ones I've said already. Every time that happens, there's this, oh my gosh, that would never happen in my day. Is loyalty gone? That's a rival. And it's been happening a lot. Just talked about a Wake Forest pitching coach becoming the Duke head coach. I don't think that's the same. But recently, NC State landed a commitment from Duke right-handed pitcher Collins Black, 3 years of eligibility left. Duke baseball, so they lost Collins Black across town. Duke received a commitment from catcher Macon Winslow. Sorry, Duke transfer lost Macon Winslow to go to North Carolina. See, it's hard to keep track. So the Duke player pitcher goes to State. Duke player catcher goes to UNC. We have forward on the basketball side of things. Van Allen Lubin famously transferred from UNC, where he was a key cog for them last year, to NC State, where he's in front row center in most of their social media postings about offseason workouts. This past year, running back Jordan Waters transferred from Duke football to NC State football. After running for an 80-yard touchdown against State one year, he played for State the next year. Safety Jakeen Harris transferred from NC State to UNC. This is all happening just kind of in a swirl. Is loyalty gone? How can you do it? Here's where my cynic, this is where I fear some of you are going to call me a negative person. Is loyalty gone, or was it never there? Is loyalty gone, or was it never there? Players used to be handcuffed to their school. They couldn't leave without sitting out. And then even when like grad transfers and things became more popular, or certain waivers could be signed and you could transfer and play right away, schools would say, we will support your transfer if you go anywhere outside of the conference. They weren't even allowed to cross enemy lines and rivalries in most cases. That's not to say they wouldn't have. That's not to say the players in the 80s, if they saw a better opportunity for themselves, wouldn't have gone across a rivalry line. It's just to say they couldn't, so fans painted this picture of they would never. And guess what? When you can't do something, it's really easy to talk trash about it. When it is physically impossible, it is really easy to talk trash about it. Well, honestly, do you know what's actually happening? I don't know if this wasn't even where I was going with it, but there's 4 recently. Dwayne Wade said it once. There's a whole bunch of former NBA players right now that are having a lot of fun talking like Kobe wasn't all that, right? And there's nothing that can come from the other side, right? Kobe shouldn't have been Finals MVP. Should have been Pau Gasol, was said. I forget. There's if you Google it on or go on social media, there's 4 pictures going around, and basically everybody's just saying, like, if he was still around, you wouldn't be saying any of this. When you know nothing can happen, it's easy to talk trash. Keyboard warriors, right? You know you're not going to have to actually fight LeBron James, so you jump on Twitter and challenge him to a fight. It's easy to say. So back when you weren't allowed to transfer, right, the old-time players, I would never wear that color. I'm Carolina blue. I took all red out of my wardrobe, and I've never put it back on. Yeah, well, you couldn't. So it's easy to say, right? We'll never find out. The fact of the matter is, your college sports career is fleeting. Right? It's 4, maybe 5 years of your entire life. You try to maximize it in some ways in a selfish way. Right? I played college sports and I was sacrificing for the team, and I think everybody glorifies that. And you need to do that to win. You need some guys that are willing to sacrifice, but at the same time, if there's a way you can go somewhere else and be a star, if there's a way you can go somewhere else and turn your college career into a pro career, most people are going to take that. And I'm not saying that there's not some out there that grew up fans of, right? If you grew up, in Chapel Hill, and your earliest memory, like the burnt memories that are spotty, but you kind of remember them from when you were 4 years old, was you going to a college basketball game and cheering for Raymond Felton? Like, okay, yeah, you might never play for NC State. But if you're a UNC recruit from Texas, and you grew up a fan of the Longhorns, but you picked UNC after the recruiting process, and now you think NC State's the best, you're not gonna go, I don't know. That those 18 months I spent in Chapel Hill, I'm now bound to them for life. And in any other scenario, it'd be strange. In any other scenario, it'd be strange. I'm going to let you in on a couple other secrets here. I know people that work for certain internet providers. If their employee discount gets them the lowest deal, they'll get internet from their own company. But if their employee discount isn't lower than whatever they can find at some other internet company, they go to the other one because it's what's best for them. They're not going to spend more money out of loyalty. And I mean, pick your industry. I don't know why I picked internet providers there. Pick your industry, right? I work for Under Armour. They're good to me. They pay me well. But my foot fits better into Nike. I'm probably wearing Nike, right? It's that way. So before you razz these young adults, right? They're not kids. Let's call them adults. Before you razz these adults making money to further their athletic career, just realize there's a good chance the ones you idolized as a kid would have done the same thing. Don't compare them to some idealized version that we'll never know the actual answer to. Loyalty in sports is gone. Loyalty in sports was never there.
The kids just never had the option to be disloyal.
We just hit it, right? Like, my son would never throw a baseball through that window. Also, I've never allowed my son to have baseballs. It's like, oh, you don't even know if he's going to throw it through the window or not. Probably, as they say, and then people get really mad when they say, boys will be boys. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have football at 4 coming up next. Hopefully no one gets mad when we say that. Football at 4 coming up.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5.
the stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Another dangerously hot afternoon. Extreme heat warning with temperatures feeling like 110 or hotter. We also have a level 2 risk for severe storms. Some isolated cells will pop up with some heavy rain and the chance for wind damage. 74 tonight, storms diminish, but we have a level 1 risk tomorrow. So more afternoon storms and heat. A high of 96 with a heat advisory feeling like up to 110.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 97 points to 42,991.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
Should the Carolina Panthers trade for and then break the bank to pay the NFL sack leader from a season ago? Didn't think I'd be asking that question today, if we're being honest. Should they trade for Trey Hendrickson from the Cincinnati Bengals? Well, let's dive in, shall we? So Fox Sports ran an article titled, "One perfect landing spot for each minicamp holdout." That was the link. That was the gotcha. That's the clickbait. So I clicked it. Why? Because the Panthers, Carolina Panthers, had actually been linked to Jalen Ramsey as a nice landing spot a few times, and I knew Ramsey was holding out. So I was like, let's see if they're going with the Panthers for Ramsey as well. Nope. However, the Panthers were named as the perfect fit for Trey Hendrickson. And I at first I went, oh, wait a minute. Because on the surface, I get it. They're need being filled by a service, right? Like the Panthers need what Hendrickson is best at. They need edge rushing. And I know they have attempted to address it with Pat Jones, the free agent who's making like $6 million a year on a 2-year deal from Minnesota, and then also with their 2nd and 3rd round pick and Nick Scorton and Princely Umanmielen. And they're hoping that some guys will get healthy and maybe get after the quarterback a little bit more in different roles than they've played in the past. You're talking DJ Wanham, you're talking maybe Derek Brown, getting more of a pass rush into his game. Like they're hoping to have solved it. But if you need edge rushing and somebody with 3.5 more sacks than anyone else in the league last season becomes available, I can see why somebody writing an article might go, need being filled by talent. There you go. Puzzle pieces fit together. Let's make it happen. However, that's where the sense ends for me. That's where the sense ends for me. And this is maybe, I felt like I was being a little cynical earlier. I think this is where I'm being maybe generous to a player. There are a few situations in sports where I understand it when a player just tells their agent, get me my money. Or, to use Jerry Maguire's terms, or actually Rod Tidwell's terms in Jerry Maguire, show me the money!
Show me the money!
I love... Never mind. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. This is one of those situations. Trey Hendrickson is one of the elite edge rushers in the league. And he has been now for a handful of years, but he hasn't always been. Okay? Now, this is where we have to put our like regular human, like we wake up, we punch the clock, we go 9 to 5 brains. We got to put those on the shelf and put on we're talking about very, very, very rich people of all kinds. We got to put that brain in. Trey Hendrickson is 30 years old. And up to this point, his career earnings sit at just $68 million. Right? Again, we're not talking about us. $68 million, more money than we could spend in 10 lifetimes. But for Trey Hendrickson and what he brings to a industry like the NFL, his career earnings sit at just $68 million. For comparison, he's 30 years old. TJ Watt is also 30 years old. Myles Garrett is 29 years old and change. Okay, so they're kind of in similar points in life, and they're guys that have led the leagues in sacks, right? They're guys that get after the quarterback. Myles Garrett almost doubles $68 million in career earnings. TJ Watt has made $50 million more in career earnings than Trey Hendrickson, simply because they produced at an earlier stage in their career. So their second contract broke the bank, where Hendrickson, mostly off of the fact that his first 3 years, he totaled 6.5 sacks combined in his first 3 years with the Saints before breaking out in year 4, then getting traded to the Bengals, where he's been consistently productive. But because of that, there is really one opportunity for Hendrickson to get forget you money, right? There's one opportunity for him to get, if I have a friend, I'm going to help fund their business, and I'm still going to have $100 million left for safekeeping. Like that, there's only one chance because he's 30 years old now. You figure the next contract's going to be a 4 or 5 year deal. You're 34, 35. You're not getting the same offers anymore. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, guys that performed, drafted higher, performed right out of the gate, they get 2 or 3 bites at the apple. So if right now he's holding out, right, and people go, oh, he held out, I would show up for work every day if you paid me that. Yeah, I get it. We would. We're not them. Got to put that brain on the shelf. He has one shot at the $30 million a year contract that takes you from forget you money to more vulgar forget you money. Like that's what he has right now. I think I walk down the fence kind of all right here. I give you one contract where you tell your agent, I want to set the market. Then I start doing the how much money do you need? Then I start doing the do you really want to take your team out back in negotiations and whip up on them, or would you rather have a better team to go win and settle for only being the 4th highest paid at your position? I give you one. Trey Hendrickson hasn't had it yet. Right, I say it all the time. If I were a quarterback in the NFL, and I were they say it's not the best; it's whoever's next sets the market. I would go all right, here's the deal. I'd have my agent there to muzzle me when I get too carried away. But I'd go, here's the deal. The market is right now $60 million a year. Right, Dak's setting the market. He was next, $60 million. I will take 35, but I want to spend the 25. Right? So if there's some, my buddy on the team, If he's going to hold out next year because you guys don't want to pay him enough, I want to be able to go dip into my 25, make up the $3 million that he's holding out for. I want him at mini camps day one.
You could be revolutionizing NFL contract structure right now.
I don't think any of this is legal in the CBA.
You can't be a player, GM,
it would
part-time.
It would be like a handshake deal, and you have to trust the team. But I would go like, I want 35, and I want to spend the other 25, and that way, if our left tackle gets hurt, I'm like, cool. I got $19 million for you to go get whatever you need in the trade market to get me my left tackle back. Right here it is. My point, I say all of that to say this. Hendrickson isn't there yet. So he's holding out from the Bengals because he wants money. When he comes to the Panthers, he's not going to suddenly go, oh, well, now I'm playing for a team that is in a slightly warmer weather climate, so I don't need to get my gigantic bite at the apple. He's still going to want huge cash, and you're still going to have to give it to him, which is why the Panthers are on this list as a fit. Because at this point in the calendar year, there's not that many teams with cap flexibility. Most contenders have spent their available money. The Panthers have a quarterback on a rookie contract, which, by the way, in this same article, they said T.J. Watt should go to Washington. That's the perfect fit. What do they have in common? Rookie contract quarterbacks. So you have a little bit of extra money to spend. So if you want to do that and cash all your chips there, all of the money you saved by having your quarterback on a rookie contract on a 30-year-old edge rusher, you can. You obviously have to trade a good amount to get him in the first place, but then you can put the $30 million a year right there, right? You didn't want to give it to Brian Burns. If you want to give it to Hendrickson, go ahead. The issue is the windows. It's a Kevin Durant to Houston move. Hendrickson's 30. Do you know why I said that those edge rushers don't get massive contract offers when they're 34, 35? Because they're rarely as good at 34, 35 and beyond. So, it'll feel really good having Hendrickson with the Panthers for the next 2 or 3 years. I guarantee you, sitting right here in this chair, talking about the Panthers for months on end, it'll be much more fun the next 2 years if Hendrickson's out there grabbing a sack and a quarter a game. It's going to be awesome. But then when Bryce Young hopefully develops into the stud that they predicted he would be in the draft, and he's ready to lead a Super Bowl contender starting with his 4th, 5th year in the league, when Tedoroa McMillan is 3rd, 4th year in the league, is now a seasoned route-running pro, and they're ready to go compete, Trey Hendrickson's going to be going, yeah, I'm still getting my $35 million per year off that gigantic contract. However, I'm no longer giving you 15 sacks a year. I'm giving you 9. And you can't really afford to go out and get it because you're paying me all that money. By the way, I like Hendrickson. I think he's a really good player. I have a buddy who's a Saints fan that still is like, why in the world did we suffer through all the bad years, and then as soon as he became good, we sent him away? I'm a big Hendrickson fan. This is a move you make after you make the playoffs like 2 or 3 consecutive years. After you make the playoffs like 2 or 3 consecutive years and you're looking for that thing that will get you over the hump, then, yeah, go ahead, do it. You don't do this to get wins, 7, 8, and 9. You do this to get wins 11, 12, and 13. That's when you do it. The Panthers just aren't there yet. So it's fun. By the way, explore it. Answer the call, right? I know it's the other sport, but go full Eric Tulsky, right? We're going to listen to all offers until we have the best players at every position on our roster. We're going to keep working. Like, answer the call, think about it, and then call them back up and say, absolutely not. Maybe we can work out a deal for some other guys, right? Keep those lines open. I would have been more excited for like a T. Higgins, but hey, that's questions for another day. You solved that with Tedoroa McMillan.
Don't hate if they make a big swing, though. I like that. You're showing that you have faith in your roster, and you add that piece, and you're counting on them to compete. I like that. I don't mind that.
I don't mind a big move. I'm learning I'm very ageist. In across multiple sports. I don't know.
You gotta get the young guys.
I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I want my core to line up within 4 or 5 years of each other, age-wise. I don't want, if possible, I don't want the 36-year-old clinging on to whatever productivity they have left right as like 3 or 4 other guys are turning 27 and ready to go. I actually think, and I've referenced this, and again, this is like, football theory. And I don't know if it's to be executed in real life, but it's to be discussed. I've thought about if you can line up your ages really well, right? To the point where like your late round picks, you're making sure your late round picks are like early declares, then, fourth year guys, then redshirt guys. So they're all kind of the same age. If you can do that and 3 or 4 of them become franchise legends, you can hide your reset. Because then when they turn 35, 36, you can hide like your tank to go get your next high picks behind their retirement tours, right? Because I've no one's done it better than the Lakers, right? When Kobe's retirement tour, every time he walked off the court the entire season, everybody was applauding, and he had the 60 to end, and it was unbelievable, and it like nobody noticed that the Lakers stunk. And they were getting high draft picks to build up their talent pool. And you end up with, Brandon Ingram and Julius Randle and Lonzo Ball, right? Like they were bad, but nobody was booing them. Nobody was complaining because it was, the last hurrahs with Kobe. And Kobe got hurt one year and they did all that. So if you just had like everyone 24 years old and then you compete for the next 6 years, right? 24 to 30, they become franchise legends. You're still probably pretty good till they're 33, 34. Then they stink, but they're old. No one's going to boo them because they're franchise legends. You get all the high draft picks. You draft the next generation. You do that over and over again. It's like a delayed dynasty. But again, I don't know if that's actually applicable. It's more theory, right? These are the conversations you have on the back deck at 2 a.m. drinking with your buddies. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. You go get every 25-year-old in the league. You put them on one team, and you wait 8 years. I don't know if it actually works, but there's something there, I promise you. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have Ladder Challenge coming up, I believe for the first time in a while. Max got the dub, but we both made money. Stick around.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan. It's Men's Health Month, and WakeMed Heart and Vascular would like to remind you that stress and anger can have negative effect on your body, and if continued over time, can cause major problems like headache, upset stomach, insomnia, high blood pressure, and maybe even a heart attack or stroke. So take a time out, relax, take a deep breath, and walk it off. Manage your stress, and your heart will thank you. Learn more about caring for your heart at wakemed.org.
Did you catch Luisito's header?
Yeah, I just recorded it on my new Samsung A36 5G phone I got for free at Total Wireless.
Oh, I'm actually live streaming the whole match with my new Samsung Tab A9 that I also got free at Total Wireless.
I got that tablet too.
And I got that phone too. We both got both.
Go!
Switch to Total Wireless and get both the Samsung A36 5G and the Samsung Tab A9 for free. For a limited time while supplies last, valid in store. Requires new phone activation on the Total 5G Unlimited plan or higher external port and ID verification and new activation on the Total 5G Unlimited 6-month tablet plan. Restrictions apply.
Evan Cohen here. Whether you're locking in your home run picks or riding with your favorite golfers this summer, ESPN Bet is your sportsbook for all the action. Go from checking stats on your favorite teams and players to placing bets in just a few taps. Plus, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
There's nothing like when you get that part from eBay and it just fits. Yeah, the first time. So you can do less of this and get right back to more of this. At eBay, you'll find all the parts you need, guaranteed to fit, at prices you'll love. Sounds good, doesn't it? eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out. Because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states. That's the sound of a Mountain Dew. And that's you enjoying its refreshing citrus kick. That's a cool breeze suddenly whistling through your hair.
Whoa!
That's you realizing you're now on a mountain.
This is epic!
That's you stating the obvious.
Mountain Dew.
Do the do.
Hurry into Family Fare and get 2 20-ounce bottles of ice-cold Mountain Dew for just $4.29. Family Fare, first in thirst.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I don't do this often because I know that our signal is very powerful and it goes far and wide across the triangle, and sometimes it's, raining here where we're situated and where you're listening. Maybe it's sunny. So I don't talk about like our specific weather that often, just knowing how weather is in North Carolina. But if you're out driving, be safe. It looks pitch black outside when we glance outside our windows. I don't know what the weather is supposed to be doing or is doing, but my very limited meteorology background of no meteorology background says
it's dark.
Says it's about to storm or something, or there's an eclipse, or I don't know, but it looks like it's about 10:30 at night. Just glancing out the windows that I can see here from where I'm sitting. Goodness gracious! So I guess it's 4 o'clock or 4:17 in the middle of the summer. Turn your headlights on if you're driving. If yours aren't automatic, if it's anything like what we're seeing, that's something you might not remember. So that's it for weather advice from Tim on 99.9 The Fan. Be safe out there, everybody. And now it is time for the ladder challenge here on 99.9 The Fan. Now, just to recap yesterday's picks quickly, and since Max has been here, we've kind of been doing these shortened versions of the ladder challenge. 3 picks, $10 each. 3 bets, $10 each. Whoever has the most money the next day wins. Caitlin Clark, I had her for 4 or more threes versus Seattle. 0 for 6. She went 0 for 6 from 3, which brings her total to 1 for 23 in the last 3 games. I can live with that. She went into the game 1 for 17 in the last 2 games. She got 6 shots up, 6 threes up. I can live with that. She's out there trying to make me money. Hey, we lost, but we tried hard. We can go to sleep with our heads held high. Cardinals, Alec Burleson, I had him to hit a home run versus the Cubs. There were a lot of home runs in that game, as I predicted due to some statistics. Burleson hit a warning track sac fly to score a run that ended up being crucial, but he did not hit a home run. I did have Garrett Crochet, 10 or more strikeouts, so despite 2 losses and 1 dub, I did make money because that was plus 215. So I went in with $30. I walked out with $31.50. So that, put it in your pipe and smoke it. Max, I believe you made a little bit more than I did.
I did. So despite that Garrett Crochet gem, the Red Sox bullpen blew it yet again. 7 scoreless innings, ended up losing in extra innings, so my Red Sox run line lost. But
it was kind of perfect for that section for me.
For you,
where he pitched great and you still lost.
I'm pretty sure I don't know if I said it, but I may have mentioned it. I was definitely thinking it like, well, he's probably going to shove, and then they're probably going to let him down. So that did happen because it does happen to them
Sound
a lot.
like a Mets fan.
But I did have Shohei Ohtani hit a home run. They were playing at altitude up there in Colorado. He did go yard, and then my parlay, Chase Burns, 6+ strikeouts, and Reds win plus 294. Also won. So started with 30, and I ended up with, I believe it was $63.40.
So that's a win. You get on the board. I was on a 3-0 win streak, so now you're taking the daily. But we're back at it again today. Let's go back and forth. As the winner, you get to lead off.
All right, so I'm going to start with the NBA draft tonight, first round tonight.
By the way, same scenario, everybody. 3 bets. We each get to put $10 on each of those 3 bets. Whoever has the most money tomorrow is the winner.
Right. So like I said, NBA draft tonight starts, I believe, at 8 o'clock. You'll be able to listen to every pick right here on our airways on 99.9 The Fan. For my first pick, I'm going to go with Jeremiah Fears to go in the top 5. That is a minus 115 bet. Basically, every mock draft on the planet I've seen has him going number 5 to the Utah Jazz, who are looking for their point guard of the future. There have been occasional ones where they might take Trey Johnson or another guard, but the vast majority of mocks I have seen have Jeremiah Fears going 5th overall to the Jazz. So I kind of like the value there. Minus 115 on that. So Jeremiah Fears, top 5 pick.
When they trade out of 5, you're gonna.
I'm gonna be. If somehow, if like Ace Bailey slips, the Hornets don't take him, and then some team trades up to 5, that would probably not be great for that bet.
My first bet also a draft bet. I'm going with our guy. I didn't realize that Max was also this guy, but the name makes sense. Maxime Reynaud out of Stanford. I'm taking the under. It's set at 27.5. Pick 27.5. I'm taking the under, so he'll be drafted before that. Minus 110. Big guys that can shoot. Once you get past the potential transcendence, big guys that can shoot. I think a contender is going to grab him in the early to mid-20s. A contender that just wants to have a serviceable, you know what you get, you know you can depend on him big. He's out of Stanford. I think he's good. So, somewhere in the 24 pick range, which obviously is under 27.5.
Would love to see the Hornets trade into the late first and pick him up. My goodness. And yeah, I love all the athletes named Max too. It's just good for the brand. We're going to go to the Diamond now.
We got Max Homa, Max Reynaud,
Max Muncy. Among others. Max Verstappen in F1.
We're talking athletes.
From what I hear, it's pretty hard to press the brake on those F1 cars. So.
Hey, you need neck muscles when they turn.
Yes. We're going to go to the Diamond. We got the Texas Rangers taking on the Orioles. Jacob deGrom on the bump for Texas. I'm going to go with a parlay of Jacob deGrom over 6.5 strikeouts and the Rangers to win. That is plus 151, so $10 would net $25.10.
My next one's another draft one. I'm going Ace Bailey to be picked specifically number 3, plus 650. I think this is after a trade. I think the Sixers, I don't think they'll take him, but the Sixers are active in wanting to move back. There's going to be a lot of movement. The whole deal is Ace Bailey has refused to work out for anybody. Matter of fact, thoughts on how Ace Bailey has handled his pre-draft process. Here is former Duke basketball player Jay Billis. He's also a former lawyer. He's also a former Duke assistant coach.
I have no problem with him saying no to workouts. And if he doesn't want to go number 3 or number 4, go to those places, I get that. He's given up a lot of money if he decides, that, hey, I'd rather not go number 3 to this place, to Philly. I'd be more comfortable going 6, 7, or 8. Now, he's given up millions of dollars if that's his choice, but that's a choice. Eli Manning didn't want to go where he was about to be drafted. John Elway, the same thing. I mean, if he's got leverage and wants to use it, fine. I don't have a problem with that because I'm not a big fan of NBA workouts, these 1-on-1, 3-on-3 things. But one thing I do think that is a mistake, if you schedule a workout, you need to go. Or you need to give advance notice that you're not going to do it. That's just being professional. But you have to, at least I try to keep in mind, he's barely 18 years old. I mean, he's just a little bit older than Cooper Flagg.
Here's my thing. I think the outside world gets more upset by that kind of stuff than the inside world. I think we and you kind of heard Jay Billis do it there a little bit. Like, it's professional. I agree. Right, I'm not saying like as human or as like if I were hiring, I wouldn't take it into account. But I think in inside sports, they don't get as like they don't clutch their pearls and act as, oh my goodness, the disrespect as much as we do on the outside. So, you didn't want to work out. You know what? Before he started not working out for teams, he was a slam dunk number 3 pick in the draft because he's gigantic and he can shoot the lights out. I think there's a good chance that ends up being the thing that is what drives the draft pick. So whether it's the Sixers or not, I think he goes number 3 because he's gigantic and he can shoot the lights out. And whether he showed up in your arena to play 1-on-1 against your assistant coach wearing a practice jersey, I don't know if that will scare off teams the way we think it will.
Right. And how much of that is really on him, too, because apparently his representation, his agent, is Sharif Cooper's father, is Omar Cooper. Mm-hmm. Apparently he's not even a registered agent with the NBA and has had issues in the past. He doesn't have any active NBA clients. So I don't know how much of that falls necessarily on the player versus the agent. But
I the only reason I have to push back on that is because I'm like pot committed. I think these are adults and they can make decisions that are best for themselves.
It's also true.
And if you align yourself with the wrong people, that's a decision that you made. Now he's 19, 18 years old? I argue that an 18-year-old should be able to make NIL money, should be able to transfer when they want because they're an adult. And they can decide what's best for themselves. So then, who you choose to follow is also it's a choice. Either way, Ace Bailey to be picked number 3, $10 turned into $75 if it hits because it's plus 650.
It's good value there. My last pick, I'm going to go with a parlay I call the 3 R's. So usually the 3 R's are reduce, reuse, recycle. But today it's going to be the Royals, Reds, and Red Sox. All money line. That is plus 1134. So $10 to return, $123.40.
Quick story on reduce, reuse, recycle. This is the most random story ever. So I went to high school for a couple years in Hawaii, right? And we were K through 12. That's important. So we were kindergarten through senior. Important for the story. There was a recycling competition statewide that whatever high school, it was like, cans and bottles, whichever one recycled the most would get a free Jack Johnson concert. Jack Johnson, the banana pancakes, the Curious George soundtrack, everyone out there. So Jack Johnson was going to do a free concert at a high school if you recycled the most. We were K through 12, and our lower school, as they called it, our elementary school recycled like crazy, and it counted for us. So we end up recycling more than any high school in the state, and we get a Jack Johnson concert. I wasn't a big Jack Johnson fan at the time, but there was a random day because they didn't want to tell anybody because it was just going to be on our high school football field. So they didn't publicize it at all because they didn't want people from outside the school showing up. So one random day you're in class and they just come over the loudspeaker. Everybody, this is the principal. If everybody can make their way out to the football field, we got a special surprise for you. Jack Johnson concert coming your way. And I don't know why I did that in like a airplane. We're going to turn left at Pittsburgh and take this bad boy up to 30,000 feet. So that's what our principal in Hawaii sounded like. We went to the high school football field. Jack Johnson was in the middle, had his guitar, microphone, played a bunch of songs. But I didn't realize this. The first song he sang was about recycling. He had a song out that was about recycling. And he goes, all right, everybody. Like, what's I forget how he got there. What's 3 plus 3? And everybody goes 6. What's 6 times 3? And he goes 18. And I was like, all right, everybody's really good with their math. And he goes, what's the 18th letter of the alphabet? And no hesitation, everybody goes R. And I was like, how does everybody? I was sitting there singing in my head A B C D with my fingers out, 1 2 3, and then immediately he goes into the song and everybody gets it. But for a moment there, I was going, am I severely lacking some kind of alphabetical knowledge here? Because everybody's way quicker than me on this counting deal. I was good with the multiplication. It was what letter of the alphabet got me. But that's reduce, reuse, recycle. There's a whole song about it. Jack Johnson, look it up, and then tell me what you think. Last pick here. Paul Skeens to allow under 3.5 hits as a obviously pitcher for the Pirates versus the Brewers. It's plus 105. Skeens leads the league in fewest hits allowed per 9 innings. Brewers middle of the pack in batting average. I just think Skeens is entering like Steph Curry territory for me, where if he's playing well, I just want to have bet on it. I just want to be on the right side of history. So obviously, plus 105, you're not retiring your grandparents off of it, but $10 into 20.5, $20.50. That's what we're looking at there. Give me Skeens to allow less than 3.5 hits. Which also, you could give up like 3 home runs in the first, get run. There you go. Unlikely to happen. So there you go. That's the ladder challenge. Whoever has the most money tomorrow wins between me and Max. Max got off the schneid with a win yesterday. Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Right now, let's fire up, hit it, and quit it. All right. This happens every single time we do it, Max. I have one that I'm gonna throw at you, and then you can take it from here. Biggest stories, we hit them, we quit them, we move on. Matt Norlander, solid college basketball reporter, mostly college basketball reporter for CBS Sports, just put out a report. College basketball's regular season is expanding. NCAA Division I Council approved earlier today an increase from 31 to 32 games. Whoa. Beginning with the 2026-2027 season, sources told CBS Sports. I'm good with this. I'm good with this. By the way, more stuff like this is going to start happening because schools and teams, now that they have to pay players, are going to start operating like businesses, and they're going to recognize that one extra home game is super valuable, right? One extra game of concessions, one extra game of ticket prices, one extra game of parking, it's super valuable. And this is also a way where you can make more money for the sport without expanding the NCAA tournament, which is also a thing being mulled out there. So I hope that doesn't happen, but you can add 5 more regular season games. These are young individuals with fresh knees. Let them run up and down.
Yeah, the report is that this is being done to help encourage more like marquee non-conference games, not just in the traditional non-con season like November, December, like even January and February.
Love that.
Sneaking a few extra high-quality games in there. I don't think anyone would be upset about that.
When did Duke, let me look it up real quick. Duke played Illinois last year.
I think that was in February.
Late February 22nd. They smoked them. Illinois was super duper banged up. They won by like 50. But I remember seeing that and going, I love that. And what it does is for conferences that are a bit underwhelming, like ACC this year, you can try to schedule a big non-conference game at that point in the calendar year, February 22nd, when everyone's vying for seeding, or if you're a bubble team and you need a premier win. If they just don't exist in your conference at the moment, you're kind of out of luck unless you have that random non-conference, like an Illinois game late February. If UNC last year, right, they were on the bubble, ended up playing in the playing games. If they randomly in late February had a huge game against a SEC team and they won it, they're off the bubble. They're just in, right? That's interesting. So I like all of that. Just don't expand the tournament. Expand the regular season. Let's quit that. Let's hit this.
You like that? You like that?
All right, well, we're talking about college basketball. Let's talk about somebody that had a local tie, I guess doesn't really anymore. Paul Mbaya, former NC State basketball commit, is going to play center. Last week decommitted from NC State, and then the news dropped, I believe, yesterday, or maybe it was earlier today. Paul Mbaya committed to play at Kansas. Why this is particularly interesting, NC State hosts Kansas. I believe it's December 13th at the Lenovo Center. So I guess that's somewhat of a quote-unquote revenge game, even though he didn't ever really come on campus or play a game for NC State. What do you make of this? The decommit, and then less than a week later, you think maybe a better, sweetheart offer came through, or maybe just wanted to play in a different program, play for Bill Self. What do you make of this?
I don't. One of the more frustrating things about recruiting, transfer portal, all of that is we never get the motivation, right? We never know why. Sometimes a player leaves, the transfers, and goes somewhere else, and everybody, meaning the fan base, gets real mad at the player. And behind the scenes, the coach told them, like, hey, listen, we don't have a spot for you. We actually want to use your scholarship for somebody else, so can you get the heck out of here? And we just never know, right? We don't know who initiated it. We don't know. I assume State still wanted Mbaya because they desperately need size, but we don't know, right? His decommitment did come, like, within a day or two, maybe a week, of the comments about Van Allen Lubin playing 28 minutes or more from Will Wade, the head coach at State. So if you're a big guy and you hear they're going to play this other big guy 30 minutes a night, you may have gone, hey, I'm out. I don't know. That's just conjecture. We'll never know the motivation. I will say, and I think this happened with Duke a little bit with Cedric Coward, when you get a commitment from someone, even if you don't get the player, if, like, when you found them, they were kind of unheralded, and then their next step is to, like, Bill Self knows what he's talking about, right? Kansas recruits pretty well. They win a lot. It's kind of like a weird cosign that you know what you're doing. Duke got a commitment from Cedric Coward. Before he ever made it to Duke, he impressed everybody at the NBA Combine so much that he's going to be a first-round pick. When Duke got a commitment from him, he was a guy that had played 6 games at Washington State the year before. That's like, hey, you missed out on him, but your talent evaluation is on point. I think that's what you take away. Like, Will Wade is not going to be able to land every big fish. He takes his cuts. Like, he steps to the plate swinging. He's not going to hit a home run every time, but it's like, all right, he's got good pitch selection, right? Mbaya, if he ends up being a main component of a Kansas basketball team, not to put Kansas too high on a pedestal, but, Bill Self's multiple-time national championship guy, right? Like, if he's seeing the same thing you're seeing, that's good. We'll take it from 1,000 scale down to like 0.4. Like we're way down here. Let me think of an example here. RJ Harvey was this way for me, where I do a bunch of nerdy prep for the NFL draft, and like super nerdy, and occasionally there's a player who I'm like, I think like all these analysts, all these mock drafters are missing. I think this dude is good. I had RJ Harvey high. Then he gets drafted in the second round above a bunch of guys that are drafted later, and I'm going like, all right, he didn't go to my favorite team. I didn't get him on my fantasy team, but the NFL evaluators kind of see it the same way I did. We don't talk about the ones that I had high that fall to, 7th round or undrafted. But when you get it right, it's kind of nice. So, Will Wade had him by a committed. When he committed, I didn't know much about him, hadn't heard much about him, played professionally in France. Decommits, ends up at Kansas. I'm like, you know what? That's good company, right? Same with Cedric Coward. Like, all right, you didn't end up at Duke, but guy might get drafted like 16th tonight. At least your evaluations are on point. So if there's a silver lining, that's what I'm rolling with. Let's quit that. Let's hit this.
So let's go to a former Carolina Panther here, Deontay Johnson. So in a recent interview with the Sports and Suits podcast, he confessed that he refused to enter a game for the Ravens last season because he was too cold. He said, and I quote, end of the third going into the fourth, they were like, Tay, we need you, Johnson said. I was like, nah, I don't think it's a good idea for me. Like, my legs are already ice cold, and I didn't want to go out there and put bad stuff on film. According to the National Weather Service, the area experienced a high of 44 and a low of 21 degrees on December 1st, 2024, the day of the game in question. Johnson went on to say that this business decision from him was the reason the Ravens decided to suspend him for one game. Ultimately, they waived him a week after he served the suspension. Texans claimed him, didn't last long there. He was waived in Week 18. Ravens reclaimed him. He was ineligible to play for the remainder of the postseason as Baltimore washed out of the playoffs. And most recently in April signed a one-year deal with the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland known, of course, as a bright and sunny, warm place.
There's
very interesting choice here from Deontay.
There are so many things here. First of all, the next good business move that Deontay Johnson makes will be the first good business move that Deontay Johnson makes. And I say this with 100% certainty. At minimum, he cost himself $25 million by not just being indifferent with the Carolina Panthers. He put two really good games on tape. All he had to do from that point on was just blend in. And even if he didn't have a great season statistically, he would have gotten a decent contract because he showed enough in those 2 games, and he could have blamed everything else on the Panthers, hit free agency, and just said, their offense was bad. There was nothing I could do. But I was there. You saw those 2 games. And he would have probably gotten $18 million guaranteed on a 3 or 4 year deal. It's brutal to watch how much money he's passed up. And then to say like, this was a business decision, I didn't go in, that's going to cost you more money because no one's going to want to bring you in, because if you are a depth wide receiver, which is what he's going to be wherever he is at his next stop, you have one job. Be ready to go in the game, right? If your legs were so cold that you couldn't play good football, guess what you should have been doing on the sideline? Staying warm. Hit a couple high knees, right? Let's do some butt kickers up and back. Like, do whatever you sit on the heated bench. Do whatever you got to do to stay warm. So, if he honestly was like, if I sprint right now, I'm a pop a hammy, he should have told them, like, I'm not good to go in. The issue was you weren't good to go in. That's the problem. And if you were good to go in and you're just kind of like making it up now, that's even worse. He is going to enter into the Hall of Fame of, if you're going to waste it, give your talent to me. You're so good. You get open so well. The quick twitch, the fast, the knowledge of defenses. You're so good. If you're going to waste it, I'll take it.
He went to the Dennis Schroeder, John Klingberg school of losing yourself millions of dollars.
School of, I woulda had $40 million. Hopefully, and by the way, I think he's made $30 million, $40 million in his career already. I hope he's making good business decisions away from the field, because he has not made good ones on the field. That's it for Hit It and Quit It here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Thank you to Max for teeing it up. When we come back, Rod Brind'Amour missed the Hall of Fame again yesterday, and apparently some of you missed the point yesterday as well. Stick around.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Loan Pronto. Folks, are you maybe maxed out on credit cards? Maybe struggling with that high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a massive turnaround, folks. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Here's the thing. Your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey, it's Victoria with 99.9 The Fan with a Men's Health Month tip from Wake Med Heart and Vascular. Each year, smoking causes more than 480,000 deaths in the United States. That's nearly 1 in 5 deaths. Those aren't odds you want to play with. Don't put off kicking the habit. In just 1 year after quitting, a person's risk for coronary heart disease decreases by half. Learn more about how you can quit and get started today, plus other ways to care for your heart at wakemed.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun-fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end.
The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
You'll be one smart cookie when you try Bluebell Cookie Cake Ice Cream. A sweet cream ice cream loaded with chocolate chip cookie cake pieces and swirls of chocolate and vanilla icing. This cookie cake ice cream really takes the cake.
The good old days are being made right now.
The good old days are being made right now.
for Bluebell ice cream at your neighborhood Food Lion.
This is The Drive. I'm Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. You know what? We need to bookmark this upcoming segment, this one we're about to do right here. I almost said, can we record it, as if we don't record everything we do on air. We record this segment because there's a good chance we're going to have to use it again next year. And I don't want to assume again that everybody else is aware of the facts. Because yesterday we received word, the reports were out on who will be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame this year. 6 names, deserving. I try to do the snub conversations without insulting any of the inductees. But if you needed to pick one, I think we could. As far as who wouldn't get in order for, ready for this, Rod Brind'Amour to be in the class. And there's better examples in years past when Rod Brind'Amour was snubbed. There were better examples of players that he would have replaced in years past. But yesterday we talked about it, and I made the mistake of thinking we didn't have to make the factual, statistic-based arguments for Rod Brind'Amour to be in the Hall of Fame. So I focused on the contextual. I focused on the narrative. I focused on what he meant to a franchise and what he meant to a Stanley Cup champion and his impact as far as the person, the player, the longevity. And the reason why I made those arguments is because I think those are the ones that are at risk of being lost to time, right? If you are a first ballot Hall of Famer, it feels like you played yesterday. Everybody remembers the grit, the time you played through an injury. Everybody remembers the clutch goal you scored. Everybody remembers the context, right? You were just on the ice. But the further you go and the more times a player like Rod Brind'Amour is snubbed from getting in the Hall of Fame, those memories fade. And suddenly that game-winning goal that clinched a crucial postseason series is just one tally in the postseason goal category, right? The context of it all, the emotions, the importance of it all, it goes away. And it just becomes statistics. So yesterday we focused on that. We focused on what he meant and how and those things. When after the show, and just so you know, I do this, when I'm going through social media or I'm looking through our YouTube comments or whatever to see what did and didn't connect with the listeners, there was more like, we know he's a great guy. We know he's a great leader. Maybe he'll get in as a builder in the builder category if he has a continued trajectory of greatness as a coach, but he wasn't the player that should get into the Hall of Fame. And I went, oh no. I didn't make the player argument because I thought we all were in agreement there. I left it out with an assumption, and you know what assuming does, right? It makes a you-know-what out of you and me. So I wanted to double back and clear up my misgivings. Rod Brind'Amour, as of right now, is 55th all-time in points. I made some of these statistical arguments earlier. So if you were listening earlier, first of all, you're the real MVP. It was over an hour ago. But I'm going to make some of them again just to hammer home the point. He is 55th all-time in points. History of the league. Only 9 names above him on that list. Out of the 54 above him, only 9 are not currently in the Hall of Fame. 6 of them currently still play. So obviously they will one day be in the Hall of Fame based on everything I'm about to tell you. The 14 below him on that list. So he's at 55. The next, whatever that goes down to 69, I think. The 14 below him on the all-time point list are either in the Hall of Fame or still playing. So of the top 69 players in all-time points in the history of the league, all but 3 of them, are either still playing or in the Hall of Fame. All but 3 of them. Now, like let's call a spade a spade. There has to be a line somewhere, right? Somebody has to be the first that doesn't get in. Somebody has to be the best player that's not in the Hall of Fame. So maybe those 3 players, unfortunately, that's where we drew the line, right? You did something that you didn't do it well enough, your peak wasn't high enough, whatever it is. But here's the hard part I have with that. All but 3 of the top 69 players in points scored, points produced, are either in the Hall of Fame or active. Rod Brind'Amour is one of the 3, and he has 2 Selke trophies, which goes to the best defensive forward, and many other years where he was near the top of the voting in that particular awards category. The best defensive forward. So he's in the top 55 all-time point producers, and that's not even his bag. He wasn't winning awards for scoring. He was winning awards for playing defense. And he happened to be in the top 55 in point producing. And by the way, when he retired, he was higher on that list because he's been out of the game for a while and guys have passed him. Right? Point producing wasn't his thing. That's not his cup of tea. That's not what he does best. That's his side hustle. And he's as good as guys that are in the Hall of Fame for that being their main hustle. This is like, if Ben Wallace is the wrong word because he's not a defenseman. But if like John Stockton or something, who's known for assists in the NBA, was amongst the best scorers. Like if every scorer got to a certain level, was in the Hall of Fame, and we're going and he was passed first. Brind'Amour was not a point producer in the way that other Hall of Famers that are in the Hall of Fame for their point production was. He was a guy that had the two-way hockey game. I mean, you see it in how he coaches, although I almost don't want to bring up him as a coach because I don't want to muddy the waters. I'm talking about him as a player going into the Hall of Fame. And oh, by the way, he captained a Stanley Cup champion. Oh, by the way, there has not been an unlimited amount of Stanley Cup champions, right? And he was the captain on a Stanley Cup champion that quite frankly, I don't know. It's happening a lot recently, and I actually think it's kind of disrespect. But when people are doing like the rankings of the century, if you rank the Stanley Cup champions of this century by talent, they're not number one. I'll put it that way. They're not number one. I think they're too low on some of those lists, but they're not top five. Right? But they found a way to win, and leadership has to play. Winning has to play a part of it. Has to. Longevity has to play a part of it. Willingness to do the things that others aren't have to play a part of it.
I mean, if you look at the statistical profile, you compare Rod Brind'Amour to players like the Sedin twins, who were inducted 3 years ago. Rod played more games, had more points. Points per game, pretty similar, but Rod also won 2 Selkies and actually won the Stanley Cup. Captained his team to the Stanley Cup. So when you compare, some players like that.
It was not a ring-chasing...
and it wasn't like a super team either. Like, he was a leader on that team, and it was definitely a team effort, and there were great players. Like Eric Stahl had 100 points that season, but it's not like Rod Brind'Amour was the one getting carried through the playoffs. Like, he was doing more than enough. I'm pretty sure, again, I mentioned this yesterday, he had, I think, 12 goals in that playoff run, then ultimately won the Stanley Cup. He had I think he had the game winner in Game 7 against the Sabres.
That's the thing. Like the winner in Game 7 is the further away we get. It's just he had 12 goals in a postseason run, and it's not like, no, it's not just 12 goals.
The moments. I mean,
it's 12 goals.
The wraparound goal in Game 1, game winner with 30 seconds left when I believe it was Ty Conklin turned it over behind the net. I mean, it's an iconic moment in the history of the franchise and arguably in the history of the league because they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. It's the first one the franchise has had, and it was just a few years after moving down here. I mean, the Whalers never won one. Moved down here, and Rod Brind'Amour leads them to get one. And if you want to say, he should go in as a builder, like, I guess I get it, but he was too good of a player for you to induct him as just a builder.
Making him wait until he adds to his resume is as a coach it's quite frankly, it's disrespectful to me. Right? Quite frankly, it's disrespectful. He shouldn't have to. And by the way, like, if you want to go like his impact, the what was it? It was Tampa, the Stanley Cup before, right? And then there was a season we don't like to talk about that happened in the middle there, or it didn't happen in the middle there. Then the Canes, those two right there, Tampa followed up by Carolina. Hockey in the South is kind of built on those two pillars, right? And now we're seeing the Florida teams and Texas and everything like that's impact on the league. It's wildly frustrating to me, and I guess we're gonna do this until we see him walk across that stage and accept his induction into the Hall of Fame. But the stats aren't going to change. What we just like the list. I guess he could go further down a list if more guys pass him, but he's only going to get passed by Hall of Famers at this point. There's the statistics aren't going to change. He's not going to go out there and up his points per game or anything like that. So that's always going to be there. The thing we have to keep up is the impact, the context, right? It's not just a goal. It's a goal in Game 7 to clinch it. It's not just a cup. It's a cup where they weren't a super team, and he wasn't a backpack being carried by other better players. He was one of the driving forces. I will give the Hockey Hall of Fame one out. You have one escape hatch. Eric Staal is eligible next year, I believe, for the first time. I saw somebody on Twitter, got in my DMs actually. They wanted this private. They didn't want this public because I was complaining about Rod Brind'Amour not being in the Hall of Fame. They said, do you think they're just waiting so Staal and Brind'Amour can go in together? And I went, I don't think that's what's happening. But if it just so happens to be that and I were one of the voters, I would go, this was the plan all along. And I almost like use that as a get out of jail free card.
I'll go ahead and
I don't think he's
stop you full stop right there. I don't think Eric Staal is making the Hall of Fame.
I don't either. And I don't think he would be a first ballot. But
1,000-point scorer, good player, won a Stanley Cup, one-time All-Star. Don't think that's enough.
I would agree with you. But if it happens, then it's like you kind of give the Canes a solid while to make up for the disrespect, right? It's like how can I make it up to you? Well, Eric Staal, and we made Rod wait all this time. Would Eric Staal make it cool? If you want to do some back alley deals, we can do some back alley deals. Politics is how it happens, right? That's the only reason he's not in. There's some people on the committees that maybe are campaigning against him. Maybe. If you know, you know. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, to be clear, we will not be making this speech as aggressively for Eric Staal next year. But we can replay it for Rod if he doesn't get in again. That'll all stay the same. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We have the starting 5 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Canes fans, your team will be turned upside down.
I said upside down, you're turning me. You're giving love instinctively. Round and round, you're turning me.
Listen all week for our coverage of the Canes free agent frenzy. Instant reaction to all the Canes additions and moves, and the latest signings from across the NHL. It's the Canes free agent frenzy on 99.9 The Fan. Driven by John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and get to Heister.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call Call Trajan today, 919-200-4000, 919-200-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time.
Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Big heat has fueled thunderstorms this afternoon to become strong to severe. We do have that risk for severe weather through the evening, 74 the low. Partly cloudy, 97 for the high on Thursday. Watch out for afternoon storms.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money at the closing bell. Dow Jones down 106 points to 42,982.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting 5.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. By the way, everybody, this is going to sound weird. Like the sun is rising outside. It's getting brighter as the show moves on here. So maybe the weather's letting up. I don't know. If you're out there, be safe. I guess there's some storms in the area. That's a very, very bad weather report. Listen to your meteorologist, Kat Campbell, WRAL. Let's hit the starting 5, as always, starting with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Around the boards for Hall. Hall, side of the net, marks him with the same rebound in front. They score! Taylor Hall on the doorstep, knocks it home, and the Canes get an early goal here in the second to make it 3-1.
So here's the deal, everybody. Whole lot of rushing around, meaning R-U-S-H-I-N-G. Not like, there's Pyotr Kochetkov and Andrei Svechnikov. Whole lot of rushing around to wait. Whole lot of rushing around to wait. The NHL, right, the number 5 is NHL latest news. And there's not a lot. Evander Kane was traded earlier today. Can you give the details of whatever that move ended up being?
I think it was just a conditional 4th-round pick sent back. No salary retained. Basically just a straight cap dump for Edmonton. But it was funny because Evander Kane effectively broke his own trade, tweeting out his farewell letter to the Oiler fans.
So here's the deal. It's a cap dump. The moves that have been made thus far are not the moves that should be giving Canes fans FOMO, but I'm seeing it anyway. If you don't know what FOMO is, F-O-M-O, fear of missing out, all right? When you're the only one not invited to a party and then you see the social media posts of everybody having a good time and you're like, oh, I missed out because you had to work that day or whatever it is. No, don't be sad yet. Give them a minute, okay? The bigger moves, the exciting moves are still to come. Right now, it's just posturing. Right now, it's just everybody is trying to gather their weaponry so they know what they can use when the bigger battles in the trade fronts or in the free agency market come. And with the draft being on Friday, there probably will be a little bit more posturing before the big moves happen. Okay, so, they're like the Mason Marchment move, Trevor Zegras move, guys being traded in again, cap situations driving most of that. They're maybe just good enough, maybe just a hint good enough to make you go like, oh, it'd be nice if we could get, in on that. If Dallas is that desperate to move players for just mediocre picks, couldn't we get in on that? But no, not yet. I'll tell you when. It's actually, if you tune in, we have a lot of live and local radio here on 99.9 The Fan. All right, Adam Gold Show 3 hours before this one. We have Next Up with Paul Eihander every morning, 9 to 10. If there's ever a trade of any kind of meaning, I'm sure Adam Gold would do a Canes Corner podcast that can be found on our YouTube live stream. Check out our social medias. We react to things live all the time. If there's something that deserves a response or even if it's a sigh of like, oh, we'll let you know. Not saying you guys need to be told. We have super educated fans. Don't have to hold your hand through this. But not yet, right? Not yet. I'll let you know. That's number 5. Let's hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
This is just a shout out. This is just something nice. Sometimes it doesn't happen enough in sports media where people just say, "Hey, I've got some good news for you." Hey, I've got some good news for you. You may not like him as an owner in the NFL, as far as David Tepper goes, but David Tepper and his wife Nicole, the David and Nicole Tepper Foundation, today put out a letter explaining that they are donating. They made a over $10 million commitment to all food banks in the Carolinas. Now, I can already hear the cynicism. So this is positive vibes through the roof right now, right? This is upbeat music going on. Is $10 million to a 20-something billionaire the same as $10 million to us? No. Could he do this multiple times over? Yes. I don't care who you are, $10 million is a lot of money. I don't care who you are, $10 million is a lot of money. And $10 million at food banks especially can go a very, very long way. And in the letter that they put out, basically they explained that they learned some things about the food banks being underfunded that they weren't happy with. And they cut a check. They made a commitment. That is active, right? Because the other way, and sometimes this is a little, I don't know, smarmy, slimy from the super duper rich people out there. Sometimes they hear something like this and they'll go like, I'll commit to raising money. And then they, put a link out and it's like, that's our money. No, you're the rich one. You do it. I'm okay with matches. Right? If you want to say like, hey, we'll match up to $10 million, so then you double it. Like, I'm cool with that. But, it's all good. But if you're a billionaire and you can just cut a check and fix it, doing that deserves some applause. So a little bit of applause to David and Nicole Tepper. And dare I say it, I think like the last year, maybe a little less, last 10 months, been pretty good NFL owners. Right now, string together a decade of that and we can really get excited. But hey, right, any bit of improvement, you got to positively reinforce. I think they've been pretty good as of late.
Yeah, he's letting the football people do the football stuff, and you can start to finally see the hope and the momentum building for the Panthers. So it's good to see. I think he's kind of settling in a little bit finally. And
I actually I saw a few other people that are involved in the nonprofit space in the Carolinas say basically like, I'm not a football fan, but I'm not surprised. They do a lot of good, and they do contribute. So, basically they were like, I'm not going to argue about, does he hire good GMs, but him committing to the food bank, them committing to the food bank, his wife obviously involved, that didn't surprise them, and I think that's cool. So that's just a little positivity towards the Teppers. That's number 4. Let's hit number 3. Aaron Rodgers says this is probably his last year. Aaron Rodgers just signed with the Steelers, and I guess for, a couple of weeks, he didn't have people asking him about his future, because before he signed with the Steelers, everybody was asking, who are you going to sign with? When are you going to sign? Why aren't you sign with the Steelers? How much money are you going to sign for? When are you going to show up? Are you going to be at mini camps? Are you going to be at training camp? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? He showed up. He signed his deal, and for a couple weeks, I guess not enough people were asking him about it, so now he's like, let's start talking retirements. Everybody's got something to say. Aaron Rodgers was on the McAfee show, Pat McAfee show, and this is the interaction.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. That's why we just did a 1-year deal. Steelers didn't need to, put any extra years on that or anything. So, this was really about finishing with a lot of love and fun and peace for the career that I've had. I mean, I played 20 freaking years. It's been a long run, and I've enjoyed it. And what better place to finish than in one of the cornerstone franchises of the NFL with Mike Tomlin and a great group of leadership and great guys in the city that expects you to win.
This is probably my last year. As we know with Aaron Rodgers, remember the whole immunized versus vaccinated. He chooses his words very, very carefully. So that probably was not dropped in there on accident. I'll also say this. Aaron may be the most frustrating reminder of this, but he is a really good reminder that the athletes we watch on Sundays, obviously in the NFL, but on game day in professional sports are people, right? Because I'm seeing some saying, Aaron Rodgers, the guy that waits till the last second to make every decision that he's made, right? He doesn't sign until he explores all of his options. He goes on darkness retreats before he decides if he's going to play for someone other than the Packers, and he does this and he does that. And he waits and he thinks and he waits and he thinks. You're telling me he's made a decision on his retirement a year in advance? I'm going like, well, guess what? People don't make every decision the exact same way. They're people. I'm not defending him. I think he is somebody that enjoys the attention. I think he enjoys acting like he doesn't like the attention. But that's people. I know a lot of people like that. I know people that put out a week before their birthday on social media, like, how crazy is it that I'm going to be 34 on Friday? And then when a bunch of people say happy birthday, they're like, oh, don't make it about me. I'm like, what? I see what we're doing here. You like the attention and you like to pretend you're humble about it. To me, that's Aaron Rodgers. But it's a good reminder that just because he, throws a beautiful spiral and is an unbelievable knack for avoiding interceptions, he's just like the person on social media that you went to high school with that wants the attention on their birthday but doesn't want the attention that's on their birthday. He's just a person. They're not machines. What number was that? 3? Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
James up top, got around Omer, goes up and dunks it down. James with authority.
I don't even know where, there is a report on. We'll start at the beginning of where the genesis of it. There is a report on ESPN, comes from Pete Thamel, one of the best insiders in college sports, ESPN.com, that says, it starts with, a decision on whether or not to expand the NCAA men's and women's basketball tournaments will be made in the upcoming weeks, sources told ESPN. If the decision is made to expand, the expansion would begin this season. Per Thamel's sources, and the tournament would expand to no more than 76 teams. Sources have indicated to ESPN for months that 76 is the more likely expansion option than 72, as the current format for the men's and women's tournament is 68. There's a lot of ways I could explain why this is a horrendous idea. But actually, I'm going to hit a tag team partner and go to Dickie V. Dick Vitale on this one. Dick Vitale tweeted with a link to this story. Direct from Dick Vitale. Wish the NCAA would focus on the major problems in college hoops rather than messing with March Madness, which has been fantastic. End of tweet. You realize how serious this situation is? Do you realize how much of a bad decision this is? You just got a tweet from Dickie V that didn't include a single baby. There was no primetime player.
No awesome with a capital A because it's not awesome.
There was no super scintillating sensational, baby. He's a 3S man. There was none of it. You are making such a blunder that you turned Dick Vitale into a librarian. He just calmly, coolly, made a coherent point rather than getting jacked up and excited. That's how bad this is.
Golly, I sure do wish they would fix the things that matter rather than doing the expansion and fix the issues that are at hand here.
You turned Dickie V into Richard Vitale. That's how big of a blunder this is. I can't emphasize this enough. There are only a few things that are perfect in sports. Only a few things. First tee time, freshly mowed course, beautiful day. Little bite in the air, but you got the quarter zip that you're going to take off at hole 6. There's only a few things that are perfect in sports. One of them is the NCAA tournament. And by the way, 68 isn't good. Go back to 64. And if for no other reason, then it is perfect for one page, one sheet. When you print out your bracket, I don't want to have to print 2.
And you have to predict who's going to win that game before you can really get into your 6-11 matchup. It's too much.
If you go to 76,
there's so many play-in games.
It's no longer the play-in. Your bracket starts on page 1, and then you have to flip to page 2 for the second weekend. It's so bad. And Dick Vitale is right. Richard Vitale is right. There are so many other major problems in college sports. The revenue share. How the revenue share with schools that don't have football is going to be a huge advantage in basketball.
NIL regulations.
NIL regulations. Coaches moving mid-season. Remember all that happened with Maryland and Villanova last year. There are so many things. Defending eligibility that is being attacked in court, lawsuits from left and right. There are so many bigger mistakes, bigger problems that need to be dealt with. The March Madness, forget it. Take it off your plate. Check it off, right? That's a motivational tactic. I forget who said it, but it's one of those motivational speakers. They say when you make a to-do list, you should, first of all, actually write it down. Second of all, the first 2 or 3 things on the to-do list, make them things you've already done, right? Get up, make your bed, walk downstairs, write your to-do list. First thing you should say on your to-do list, make the bed. Why? As soon as you're done writing the to-do list, you get to cross it off. That feeling of accomplishment makes it feel great. Now you're cruising, right? Now you know what? I am going to go mow the lawn. That's what NCAA should do. Make their to-do list. Number 1, fix March Madness. Number 2, figure out an NIL legitimate, whatever, the authentication that they have to do. Number 3, coaches movement. Number 4, transfer portal mid-season. And then just cross off fix March Madness. It's already done. It's perfect. Move on to the next with a sense of accomplishment. If there's one thing you could change about March Madness, I will give you one. Men's and women's Final Four. I would like them same arena, same day. Championship back-to-back.
That'd be cool. So then it's 4 games, and maybe you stagger. You do the first women's semifinal, then you do the first men's semifinal. You could start at 11 or 12 and then
Same
go to midnight.
City, celebrate them both, make it a whole thing. That we can discuss. 76 teams? You can take that where you shove it where you know you can shove it.
No, thank you.
You can add more regular season games. That broke earlier today, by the way. CBS, Matt Norlander had it first. First I saw, at least. They have approved 1-game expansion from a 31-game regular season schedule to a 32-game regular season schedule. Go to 35 regular season. Go to 36. Go crazy. Make your money there with extra tickets and everything else. Your media partners will obviously be happy with that. And then keep the tournament perfect. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
The one!
NBA draft tonight. Cooper Flagg going first to the Mavs. Where, by the way, Kyrie Irving signed a 3-year extension for, I don't know, another $120 million. So the Dallas Dukies will continue. Derek Lively's still down there. Kyrie's going to be there for the foreseeable future. Cooper Flagg will be there on his rookie deal. So that's building. But we've had so much time to react to Cooper Flagg going number 1 overall. What else is there to say? Con Knippel, his teammate from Duke. I'm seeing the range pretty much from 4th to the Hornets down to 8th to the Nets. That's a fantastic range for him. I do think he has one of the more interchangeable games where he's going to fit in with most teams, right? Because at the absolute least, he can just be a spacing shooter. He can just be a guy catch and knock it down. If you want to put the ball in his hands more, I think he can ball handle the pick and roll. He can do a few other things. His defensive instincts, where his athleticism maybe isn't super, or his I don't want to say athleticism, where maybe like lateral quickness and everything aren't elite at the NBA level. His instincts are pretty good. I think he fits in anywhere. Come on, Malawash from Duke, their teammate. I'm seeing 7th to the Pelicans as kind of the high water mark, down to 12th to the Bulls. He's an interesting one in that I do think there are not necessarily teams, but situations that fit him and don't fit him. I think you need a little bit of patience. He's still raw. I think he would thrive as I look at him like this. Ready for this analogy? I'll bring it home, I promise you. I look at him like a running quarterback, okay? Like a Lamar Jackson. I talk about Lamar Jackson's early season or early career development in a similar way that I will talk about Kaman Malawash's. In that, Lamar had a way to impact the game immediately. There were parts of his game that had to develop, but he knew he could fall back on, hey, man, get me the ball in space, and I'm going to be A-okay, right? So if he dropped back and he was like, uh-oh, haven't seen this defense before, I am confused by where the safeties are. He didn't have to force it, right? If you have a drop back passer, they drop back and they're like, the only way I help the team is by letting it fly. Here we go. Lamar had other things he can do. So it's almost like his legs bought him time as an effective NFL player while he figured out the rest of the game. Kaman Malawash, his lateral quickness for his size, his wingspan, his second jump ability, he's going to be a good defensive big immediately. He can switch on to perimeter players at 7'2". He is going to be a good defensive big immediately.
Just needs to develop that jump shot on the offensive side.
Needs to develop the jump shot on the offensive side. Needs to develop, I would say, slightly better instincts with what to do with it. He's a guy that, like, if he has the ball for more than a second and a half, you see his brain, like his internal alarm clock going, do something. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. But you know that, like, if he's having a quiet offensive day, he can go, no, I'm still impacting this game on the other end, right? I've got 2 blocks, and I've got great advanced analytics defensively. If he goes somewhere where they need him to score, they need him to be like an immediate roll, pick and pop option on the screen game, I don't think that's great. You need to be able to bring that along slowly. But that's more situation than location. And with the amount of trades that I expect to see kind of 8 on in this year's draft, because I think a lot of different teams have different boards. His outcomes are endless. And then Drake Powell. It's even harder to predict all the way where he's being drafted. Shout out to the high school OT guys, our colleagues here, highschoolot.com. Check it out. They went to like all of the online big boards and found where Drake Powell was ranked. NBAdraft.net had him highest, 22nd on the big board. That's not a mock draft. That is like he's the 22nd best prospect to them. All the way down to Tankathon, which is sounds like a goofy site, but it's actually pretty well respected. They have him 37th. So that's a big range for a player. And in the middle, right, NBA.com 27th, Yahoo 29th, ESPN 28th, rookiescale.com 31st. So he has a wide range of outcomes. Mid-20s for him, that's good. And that's a team that will then be committed to developing his two-way game. He has ability to be a 3-and-D guy. 37th, that's where he's going to have to do some of it on his own because second-round picks don't get as much attention or investment. So there's a lot riding on it for him tonight. If he hears his name called tonight in the first round, I think that's very, very important. If he doesn't, the degree of difficulty for him to have the career he wants to have just became a little bit higher.
I'm so excited for the draft.
Are you an NBA draft nerd?
Well,
did I not know this about you?
It's really mostly for the Hornets because it's basically the draft is like the biggest day of the year for the Hornets every year because it's not like they have any playoff games that we need to worry about. But maybe we can get there.
Fourth pick and endless opportunities.
There's so many options.
Could be the ninth pick plus a future first and an expiring contract. Could be so many things.
I've been pondering it so much. I think I'm team trade down to 6 or 7 and try to get another first round pick or a roster player as well. But no matter who they go with, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna get better one way or another. It depends. What does Philly do? Do they trade down? Do they take Edgecombe? If Edgecombe's there at 4, you pretty much got to take him. I mean, there's a lot of factors going in, but I'm really excited. I really don't know how it's going to shake out either.
Stick around to find out. It's all happening. Or first round's happening tonight. That's why I said it's important. Drake Powell hears his name tonight.
And you can listen right here on 99.9 The Fan.
Stick around to find out. Before we grab numbers game contestants, Tim Donnelly here, and I want to tell you all about Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically the Fox & Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location, has something for all of you out there. Right? If you're listening to this show, you're probably a sports fan. Maybe you're like Max and you're into golf, in which case you probably think in precision, performance, patience. Right? You understand what a great feeling it is to just have the absolutely perfectly flush hit shot. That's what it feels like when you throw an Omega Seamaster on your wrist. You get the same precision. You get the same excellent performance. More versatile than you think, I promise you. And just like the pros on the green, a great watch is all about perfect timing. Maybe you're somebody that likes to head to the country club, not for golf, but for tennis. Game, set, match. No better way to serve up style than with a clean, crisp timepiece on your watch. Just ask the players courtside, and there's a good chance they'll be wearing a Cartier Santos. The sporty sophistication that goes with your all-white ensemble right there on center court. And, of course, baseball, right? That season's in full swing. If you're talking legacy, you're talking American pastime, you're talking Hamilton. Khaki field watches, sporty, durable, all-American cool. They have it all and much, much more at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, the Fox & Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry Village District location. Let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan the next time you stop in. Right now, we need our numbers game contestants. We have a free hour of tee time. Talking about golf. I mean, it just keeps coming up. We have a free hour of tee time, which, by the way, it's all at X Golf. There are cool games to play. There you can go play around on some iconic courses. But also, if you're like a true golf nerd and you want just spin rates and you want all of the stats that the pros get and you want to really hone in your swing, an hour at X Golf, you can do a lot of good learning about your swing and what you have to work on by, whip out the phone, take pictures of the screen, make sure you keep all those numbers, bring them to your club pro or bring them to your buddy that's better at golf than you, talk your numbers out. You can learn a lot about your swing at something like X Golf. So a free hour of tee time at X Golf goes to the winner of the numbers game. We need 2 contestants. Numbers call 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. And just because, so call in now, 919-860-5326. And just because my trade partner asked me to do this during the last commercial break, if you're in my Dynasty Fantasy Football League, if you are out there and you are in my Dynasty Fantasy Football League, before we go to break, I did just trade for Puka Nacua. Let's go, Puka! Back after this with the numbers game.
Duke's Cooper Flag will go number 1.
Now Cooper across midcourt. Takes it inside! It throws it down with 2 hands.
But where will the rest of his teammates land in the pros?
Maluach! Dunk that thing down!
And don't forget Carolina's Drake Powell.
Powell hangs in the air, gets the bucket to go, and James is called for the foul.
The 2025 NBA Draft tonight on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Dear McDonald's, your breakfast menu? Fire. 10s across the board. I could be happy with anything, even though I ordered the same thing every time. Thanks for not judging me. I'll try something new next time. Maybe.
Get your faves for less. Buy a sausage McMuffin with egg for $2.50 at any size Sprite for $1.49. Price and participation may vary, cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey friends, Paul Eihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summer's heat up, and so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with Energy Smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited-time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
When you switch to Progressive and bundle your home and auto, you could save hundreds, and that's a surprising amount of money.
Whoa, that's like farmer's market money.
That's like give me a gallon of that locally sourced raw honey money.
That's certified organic heirloom tomatoes in every imaginable color except red money.
That's let's get 2 pounds of pink oyster mushrooms money. I'm not even sure I like pink oyster mushrooms.
Guess it's time to find out, because you could save hundreds when you switch to Progressive and bundle. Then the world is your pink oyster mushroom. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The contestants for today, Derek in Raleigh and Rocco in Raleigh. They'll be battling it out for an hour of free golf at X Golf in the simulator, either playing the cool games, having the fun playing a round of golf, or grinding on their game and, getting all the stats they want on their swing. So Derek in Raleigh and Rocco in Raleigh competing in the numbers game. As always, I'll ask a question, the same to both, and they will they'll answer it. Max will be our judge for today. He'll pick his favorite answer. That person will get to go first. Derek in Raleigh, are you there?
I am.
All right. The question for today is, with the NBA draft tonight, you can listen to it right here on 99.9 The Fan. If you could be the number one draft in any draft, any sport, any draft, which one are you taking and why?
Definitely got to go with the NFL draft. Not that the NBA and the NHL wouldn't be cool, but I think that one gets the most viewership and probably has the coolest amount of prestige to it.
All right, Max, any follow-up questions you want to ask? Nope. All right, he's shaking his head no. Man of not many words. So here we go. Next up, Rocco in Raleigh. Rocco, are you there?
I'm here. How you doing?
Same question to you in honor of Cooper Flagg and the NBA draft tonight. You can go number one in any draft. Which one are you picking and why?
So I can't pick NFL.
You could. It's just usually, that doesn't Doesn't bode well for your chances of winning.
Maybe if you had a better reason, you know.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll do NBA.
Your enthusiasm is overwhelming.
Well, I'm kind of I'm not sure what the rules are here, to be honest.
Okay, all right. This is just the intro. We're just getting to know each other at this point. Max,
Okay.
Max.
Well, definitely, I'm more of an NFL fan.
Okay, Max. Which one are you rolling with?
Yeah, I mean, just the lack of confidence there. I mean, I guess he thought we were jumping into it, so I guess I understand that.
Because I don't know the right answer. No, it's 7.
It's up to you. At 7, I asked you what color the sky was today. No, I'll go with Derek, but Rocco will have his chance.
All right, Rocco, you will have your chance. Just stay on hold. And matter of fact, if you're unfamiliar with the game, might be better to hear it played once anyway. Derek and Raleigh, are you ready to roll? Ready to pick a category?
Ready to roll.
All right, the category. These are actually. We have a new category here that's kind of funny. Here are the categories for you to choose from. NFL quirky rituals. These are players in the NFL that are known for having quirky kind of superstition routines. NFL players that were born in Washington State is the next category. NBA players that have multiple triple-doubles and are still active is the next category. And the final one, NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll go ahead and do the quirky rituals.
Okay. These are players known for quirky rituals. And by the way, for those of you at home, I will let you know what the rituals are after. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There will be 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
9.
Incorrect. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals.
7.
Incorrect. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
12.
Incorrect. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals.
9.
Correct. Michael Strahan, New York Giants.
92.
Correct. George Kittle, San Francisco 49ers.
85.
Correct. Harrison Smith, Minnesota Vikings.
53.
Incorrect. Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills.
17.
Correct. Harris. I didn't read those the best. I was stumbling a little bit, but the fact that you went 53 for Harrison Smith makes me think maybe you weren't on the right path. We were looking for 22 for Harrison Smith.
Yep.
So, there it is. Either way, Josh Allen, 17. You did get it eventually. Well, I have to be honest. When you took 2 tries at Josh Allen and didn't get it, I wasn't confident in your abilities, but you ended with 4, which is a very solid number. For those of you that are playing at home or want to know the pregame rituals, I'm told Josh Allen throws up. He pukes in pregame every game. Joe Burrow plays chess pregame to lock in. Michael Strahan, I promise you it says this in my notes, and if it's incorrect, then I don't know which way it's going. He talks to his socks.
Okay.
Yep, that's kind of my reaction.
Do they talk back?
Yeah, I hope not. Did they have a gap in their teeth? George Kittle reads letters from his dad pregame, and Harrison Smith triple Tabasco shots for clarity is what it says. There you go. Either way, you got 4 out of 5, so we'll see if it holds up. Go ahead and stand the line. That brings us to Rocco and Raleigh. Rocco, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, the categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players born in Washington State, NBA players with multiple career triple-doubles that are still active players, or NHL Hurricanes only.
I'll do the Hurricanes only, please.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. I will say the team, even though we know the team in this category, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. I understand, Rocco, you're new to the game, but you do need all 5 to get the win. So good luck, and your time will start when you hear the horn. Jalen Chatfield, Carolina Hurricanes.
7.
Incorrect. Antti Ranta, Carolina Hurricanes. Dougie Hamilton, Carolina Hurricanes.
Not a Hurricane.
What was that? Jalen Chatfield, Carolina Hurricanes. I gave you one extra pass there. You're only supposed to have one. I don't think it cost the other competitor the win. Jalen Chatfield. There were people at home, and by the way, we all know it's tough. First time playing, clock is live, it's ticking, all that kind of stuff. Gets a little rattled. But there were people screaming, "It's a Category 5! It's a Category 5!" He wears number 5. Antti Raanta, when he was a Cane, wore 32. Dougie Hamilton, when he was a Cane, wore 19, if you're playing along. Rocco, hopefully you at least had some fun, and maybe you'll give it another try.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
All right, appreciate it. That means Derek in Raleigh is the winner. Derek, congratulations.
Thank you. Respect to Rocco. The lights are a little bright, so I hear him. I feel him.
I tell people all the time, because people come up to me and say, like, how did they not get that one? I'm like, unless you've called in, you can't talk trash because it's a different beast.
Yeah.
So congratulations. As I said, stay in the line. Max has some info he needs to grab from you to make sure you get your hour of golf at tea time, or hour of golf at X Golf. There we go. Appreciate it. Hopefully everyone at least had fun. 30 days? We're down to what, 29 days now? Where are we looking? 29 days until training camp for the Carolina Panthers. Our question of the day is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Canes fans, your team will be turned upside down.
I said upside down, you're turning me. You're giving love instinctively. Round and round, you're turning me.
Listen all week for our coverage of the Canes free agent frenzy. Instant reaction to all the Canes additions and moves, and the latest signings from across the NHL. It's the Canes free agent frenzy on 99.9 The Fan. Driven by John Heister Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Lillington. Get off your keister and get to Heister.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned Cajun fried whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and a cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. Yes, give me my good friends. Give me that dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Join us at Cocoa Booth Amphitheater this 4th of July. Enjoy patriotic music, kids' activities, and fireworks, all with free general admission.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe to our YouTube, by the way. Waving to everybody out there in YouTube world. 99.9 The Fan. Search for it. Subscribe. Like it. Comment. Share it. All that kind of stuff. Also, it's live every day. So if you're ever if you're traveling, right, there's the holiday coming up. If you're on the move, you're at the beach, maybe you are not in our traditional listening area, you can still catch the show. You don't have to miss it. And YouTube live stream is one of the ways you can make sure you're in the mix. So 99.9 The Fan.
Subscribe. We're up to 17.7 thousand. We're getting closer to 18,
20.
but we want to get to 20. We want to get to 20 by the end of the summer.
That's what I want. 29 days until training camp, which is a good time to remind you that our YouTube and our station is fantastic. Not just myself, not complimenting myself, but everybody puts a lot of work into Carolina Panthers content. And as we get closer to training camp, you want to make sure you know where it is. 29 days until Panthers training camp. We ask one question a day, each show, leading all the way up to training camp. Today's question, where does Bryce Young rank among the NFC South quarterbacks? So much of the future viability of your team's chances to win the division hinges upon, do you have the dude under center? Now, I'm not saying you have to have number one in your division to win, but I am saying you can't get boat raced, right? You cannot be way behind at the quarterback spot and expect to realistically, consistently compete for a division. So here are the challengers. Bryce Young, obviously, in the mix. Then there's who are we going with the Saints? Tyler Shaw?
Yeah, I'll go with Tyler Shaw.
Spencer Rattler? I don't know. Fill in the gap. But we'll call it Shaw.
Presumably somebody who would be below Bryce in that ranking.
Man, we'll see. Well, don't spoil it. Spoiler alert from Max.
I don't know what your list is. I'm just talking about objectively.
Trevor Lawrence and Baker Mayfield would be the other two. Trevor Lawrence from the Jags, Baker Mayfield from the Bucs.
Why would Trevor Lawrence be on it? Jags aren't in the NFC South.
Jeez.
We're talking about Michael Penix.
We're talking Penix. I don't know where that came from. Michael Penix Jr. Will be the other one. What a wild decision there. First place, and I actually haven't written down in front of me. I don't know why I said Trevor Lawrence. Got my I can't even say I got my Florida teams mixed up because I had Baker Mayfield in there. Well, it's a Wednesday. What did I do earlier today? Oh, I gave the wrong. I gave the wrong phone
our number instead of the Bailey's number.
Yeah, I was giving
Miller Lending, one of them.
Yeah. All right. Let's lock back in. First, Baker Mayfield, which is it's got to sting a little bit for Panther fans out there, knowing that he was on the Panthers as a backup with no helmet, headbutting people, and really in 2 days leaving Carolina, rebuilt himself into one of the more exciting quarterbacks in the NFL. And I say literally 2 days. On a Tuesday, he was in Carolina, and on a Thursday, he started the game for the Rams on a Thursday night and led a game-winning drive with a limited playbook. He and McVay vibed. He rebuilt himself that week, and then the rest of that season goes to Tampa. He's been really good in Tampa. Now, part of that is, you give a middle-of-the-road quarterback, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, a solid tight end in Cade Otton, a good pass-catching back in Rachaad White, and then a good pass-catching back in addition to Rachaad White and Bucky Irving, and then McMillan, not Tetaroa, their version, lesser heralded. And then on top of that, they're going to give him Egbuka this year. But still, he's the one orchestrating it. He's the one calling the shots. Baker Mayfield first. Next, I think I go Penix. For the simple fact, I have Penix and Bryce Young coming out of the draft, Bryce Young ahead. Okay, so if they were in the same draft class, I would have had Bryce Young higher coming out of the draft. But Penix being drafted 8th overall, he's not miles behind. And then Bryce Young in his first 2 years, I would say, took 4 big steps back and then 1 big step forward again. Penix has just kind of been neutral. So I put Penix. By the way, Penix probably older than Bryce Young, if we're being real. He had a lot of years in
Michael Penix
college.
is 25.
Yeah. So they're similar points in their career, I'll say, even though Bryce Young is 1 year ahead. And then you also got to look at the supporting cast. Bijan Robinson matters. Drake London matters. I don't know if Kyle Pitts matters as much, but those pieces make it a bit easier for you to develop as a quarterback. And as much as I want to judge them in a vacuum, football isn't played in a vacuum. So you give them that extra little bit there. And then as the spoiler alert Max comes from earlier, or Max gave you earlier, Bryce Young is going to be above whoever ends up playing for the Saints. I think it's if we were doing tiers, Baker Mayfield, gap. Like, so first tier, Baker Mayfield. Second tier is Bryce Young and Penix. And then fourth is going to be Shah. I have such a hard time with that guy's name. It should be Shao, but it's Shah. Tyler Shah, who, by the way, is older than everyone in tier 2. And Spencer Rattler or whoever else that ends up playing there for the Saints.
I just end up saying Shuck like it's like he's
Shuck, like
working in a cornfield.
Yeah, that works. Shuck. This is not disrespect to Bryce Young, okay? I am of the belief that the arrow is pointed up for Bryce Young. However, I have not drank the Kool-Aid to the point that many of the fan base has, which is, you know, he's back. He's a top 15 guy already. The sky is the limit. After watching his first 2 years, I do believe there is a lower ceiling on Bryce Young than many believe. That doesn't mean you can't win with him. That doesn't mean there's plays you can't call with him at quarterback. I just think the processor, which was his superpower, right? I talk about the great quarterbacks all need a superpower. They don't have to have a billion of them, but they need at least one, and they need to be pretty good at everything else, right? Lamar Jackson, what's his superpower? His running ability. Patrick Mahomes, what's his superpower? His improv ability. Josh Allen, arm strength, right? You can go through them all, and they all have something. And when Bryce Young was coming into the draft, we were all told that his superpower was his processing ability, right? He saw things happen before, his ability to anticipate and throw guys open. Through the first 2 years, I think his arm strength has held up, right? When he cuts it loose, he can make the throws. I think his mobility is actually underrated, right? If you go watch, there's some YouTube cut-ups of his ability to shake guys in the open field. I think he's better there. The thing that didn't immediately translate, which makes me concerned, is his processing ability. And you know, maybe I'm scarred by some very bad games early in his career, but I remember Jesse Bates got him on very similar safety disguises in the same game, right? And all you want from your young quarterback is, I don't care if you make a mistake, don't make the same mistake twice. He was doing them like first half and second half through the first, 16, 17, 18 games of his career. So I still think there's ability there. I think there's optimism there. I'm not ready to anoint him anything yet. Matter of fact, I would go out on a limb and say this. I'm telling, like, if I'm a GM, I'm telling my scouts, I'm telling my assistant GMs, we're not extending Bryce Young next offseason. Now, obviously, with new information, you can change your mind. But I'm going in with the expectation that we're not extending him next offseason because, at best, it's 50-50, right? It would be a bad season, a good season, right? First season bad, this upcoming season hopefully good, and then one season in the middle that was 50-50. And I'm not making a $50 million a year decision on 50-50, right? I want to see that fourth year. Obviously, you can pick up the fifth-year option, but I'm not extending him after the third year when so many guys start asking for it. And that's mostly because I think the jury is a little bit more out than everybody else. That's a Panther fan. Hopeful, not banking on it. Baker to me is the sure thing. Penix maybe doesn't have as many demerits on his record. Bryce next, solid, looking forward to it, hopeful that he can take the next step. And then the Saints, they're probably going to spend more time watching Arch Manning and Carson Beck than they are their own quarterbacks this year. Although they did take Shah in the second round, higher than most believed he would go. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, NBA draft is tonight. A whole bunch of Duke guys expected to go, 3 of them. Maybe Tyrese Proctor sneaks in late if there's a surprise. Could be 4, who knows. UNC's Drake Powell, hoping to hear his name called tonight. Hopefully early 20s. That's where the optimism would lie for Drake Powell. Then a bunch more with local ties in the second round, hopefully tomorrow. So we'll react tomorrow to the first round, preview the second round. You can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan. So hopefully you stick around. Thank you to Max. Max, are you with us tomorrow? Quickly.
No, I'm out.
No?
Going on a golf
All right,
trip.
then Max did a great job the last week and change filling in, producing for our show. So, if you see him, say great job. Hit him straight, all that kind of stuff when it comes to golf. We'll be back tomorrow. I will be, I believe, with Graham. So hang around for that. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night.
Duke's Cooper Flag will go number 1.
Now Cooper across midcourt. Takes it inside and throws it down with 2 hands.
But where will the rest of his teammates land in the pros?
Maluach! Dunk that thing down!
And don't forget Carolina's Drake Powell.
Powell hangs in the air, gets the bucket to go, and James is called for the foul.
The 2025 NBA Draft tonight on 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle's